This episode of Limit Break Radio is made possible by our generous Patreon donors, including Kimiko Steele of Odin, Zero Aeolus of Fairy, Isabel Drake of Belmung, and a special happy birthday to Isabella Drake. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio. And by Alamo City Comic-Con, October 28th through the 30th at the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center in sunny San Antonio, Texas. Alamo City Comic-Con celebrates the artists that entertain us through TV, movies, comics, gaming, and cosplay. For more information, including badge prices, celebrity guests, hotel accommodations, and more, visit AlamoCityComicCon.com.
Live from Eorzea.
Limit Break Radio. With your hosts, Unhero. I'm back in black. Kahlo.
What's I serious?
Juxtaposition.
Chillin', so much chillin', too much chillin', this is all I'm chillin'. Chillin', chill. Boom, 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 chill. Boom, boom, chill.
Ascalia.
The dragon becomes me!
And Mika.
I am the strongest woman in the world.
LimitBreakRadio.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1!
Welcome to Limit Break Radio, episode number 66. The 3.3 hype is real.
I am chillin'.
I can tell. That's nice. That ensures that I have to reuse that intro this week.
Well,
That's
yeah,
great.
of course.
Oh, good.
That's why I did it.
Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us live here on twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. We'd love for you to call the show. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715. And also available on Discord, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. Thank you guys for joining us live here today. We're going to be talking all about the 3.3 preliminary patch notes, as well as the interesting Famitsu article that was translated over at Blue Garter, and some of the juicy tidbits that I think are kind of getting a little bit overshadowed by all of the hype for 3.3.
All of the just giant information dump that was laid upon us.
Yeah.
In a big splashy outburst that gets all over your butt. What the fuck?
That's vivid. It's vivid.
Does that not happen to you guys?
No.
Creepily specific.
Yeah, that is really, really specific.
Well, I hate when that happens. And Apple Nectar in the chat was talking about pooping before, so...
Oh, okay.
Great.
Oh, good.
What I like about the Famitsu articles is they've kind of sort of started to turn into me a commentary about the patch notes, because you get a lot of like sort of behind the scenes like feelings and opinions about, or from Yoshi about certain aspects of it, which I think is really cool.
Which, and I don't think that he... And I think this is specifically because of the language barrier, and because when you're dealing with a language barrier, you choose your words way more specifically. Mm-hmm. But I think that these articles are a really interesting look and a very honest and forthright look from Yoshi P about the state of the game. And yeah, I think it does provide a really interesting dialogue. So we'll be taking a look at that. Shout out to Blue Garter for doing some awesome translating work and hosting the translated interview piece piece over there.
Yeah, go Dragons. I know you probably don't do anything with any of that, but go you anyway.
But still, it's awesome. You can check that out over at Blue Garter. We'll, of course, have a link to that at our website, limitbreakradio.com. I'm sure that Kooky will lay that link down also in the chat room. But we are missing a couple of voices this week.
What? No, there's Papa. Say hi, Papa.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, he's here.
Yeah.
All right, now stop talking again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Pops is back. Welcome back, Pops. We're glad that you're feeling good.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But we're also missing Ascalia and Nika
Oh,
this week.
shit. Are we?
Yes, we are.
Oh.
Darn!
Yeah, that's too bad.
They are at Awesome Con and Colossal Con, respectively. So
because they're colossal douchebags, and we're awesome.
What?
okay.
I tried.
Yeah. Anyway, did you?
I gave it the good old Ascalia try.
Shameful.
Anyway, yeah, so they are off gallivanting at their respective conventions. So if you're out there, hope you had the chance to meet them while you were also out there. So anyway.
So you can also feel our pain.
Oh, this
at
is
least
what they have to deal with on a daily fucking basis.
Well, it's kind of subjective. I think that maybe the same could be said for us.
No, we're the cool ones.
Yeah, what?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We totally don't give them a hard time, do we?
But that's because they're not cool. If they were cool, they'd be fine.
Oh,
I mean, do
okay.
we give ourselves a hard time?
Well, I give you guys a hard time because I don't think you're cool.
Do ya?
Yeah. I do.
Do you, though?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd call your half-chub hard, man.
I don't know. There was that time that I almost made you cry. So
I don't think that was a real thing.
that was a real thing.
No, it wasn't a real thing.
Yeah, it was a real thing.
No.
Yeah, it was a real thing.
No.
Yeah. Anyway.
Plus, with the hiring of our most recent intern, honestly, he gets the brunt of everyone's
That is
hazing recently.
Oh, that is very much
you
true.
did almost make him cry.
Good. He deserved it. He thinks he has protected status here. Which, no. If anyone doesn't have protected status here, it's him.
I banned him for 7 days once.
Yeah, I know. I'm just and he seemed to think that that
Look,
I just had to knock him down a peg is really what it was.
But here's the thing. That's how abusive relationships work. The meaner you are to them, the more they want you.
That is sort of true. It's at least the programming strategy that we have here at Limit Break Radio.
If he's here, I'll ban him.
Probably.
Skura, where are you?
He's probably just not speaking because he's terrified now.
Okay.
Which, good. I mean, that was the idea. Anyway.
You won't get rid of me that easily.
So, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us live here at twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. That's
Not for long.
Like I said, yeah.
Where is he? I'm going to time him out.
So if you'd like to call the show, we're going to be taking a look here at the 3.3 patch notes and the Famitsu article. If you'd like to call the show and give your opinions about anything in the patch notes or in the interview, then line up now. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. We've got Kooky Persona hanging out, waiting to take your calls. And
Firewall.
Yes, that's right. And so anyway, Pops, you were gone last. Pull up that microphone.
Actually, use the microphone
Yeah,
for a
there
change.
you go.
I can use this?
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
For now.
For a couple
now.
minutes, right?
But you were gone last week, not feeling terribly good. Feeling better this week?
100%.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. How them t-shirts doing?
They're all out.
They're all out.
All t-shirts
out.
are out, and so are the remaining posters, except for, I think you just gave me the update.
I was going to say, all of the April things have been sent out. The May ones just got tallied, and I just sent him the spreadsheet on yesterday, and so he's
Great.
He's going to filter through all that stuff.
You and your fucking spreadsheets.
Awesome.
I have an important question for you, Papa.
Yeah.
How many of them did you rub on your balls?
I just like how he creepily whispers.
There's been a couple.
Okay. All right.
Won't tell you, but you'll be able to tell.
The ones with skid marks? Jeez.
There's a couple of
Why does your balls have skid marks?
I was gonna say what?
He's an old man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Does like your skin just like fall off?
look.
with it?
Well, hey, just give it like 2 more years, and you will find that your balls rest in toilet water on a far more regular occasion than you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
It is a true thing.
Horrible thing.
Are you to that point already?
I am 31 years old, and yeah,
Balls are dragging.
That's right.
For the record, I am also 31, and my balls have not touched the water yet.
Well, you're still waiting for him to drop?
Apparently.
Yeah, you almost have to hover over the toilet.
All right, so why don't we? So Pops,
Yeah.
because you're back this week, and we're down Ascalia and Nika, you're stepping up to the big leagues.
Excuse me, chat. Excuse me.
Alrighty.
Jim Hardcore says this is what happens when the lady of the show is gone. When the ladies of the show is
plural.
That's right.
Okay.
Plural.
Equal representation. If
right.
that's what Ascalia is feeling
Today,
at that time.
obviously.
Anyway, so yeah, Pops, we're gonna have you step up to the plate and fill in for both of them. So we're gonna ask you all the raid questions, and we're gonna ask you all of the gender questions. So.
And if you make any good points or jokes, we're going to credit them to the other hosts.
That's right. We're just going to absorb them. So anyway, let's take a look at what is going on in FF14 news.
This is a limit-breaking news update.
Which, of course, is the preliminary patch notes.
Which is everything.
For patch 3.3. And man, we should just dive right in. Kahlo, you want to start us off here?
Nope.
No,
because I have no idea how to turn Juxta's fucking.
You gotta hit the
back
power
on.
button.
Wow.
Where's the power button?
It's on the top.
Is that it? Oh, I got it.
You are
I got
terrible.
The top of the top.
Look at what happens.
Why isn't it unlocking?
We're down 2 people.
Got it.
You swipe.
Falls apart.
New main scenario quests have been added.
Oh, good.
And then
I'm
we have
glad
some-
that took 3 minutes.
We have some really cool pictures of. Look at it. What's that fucking shit on his face?
Jizz.
No.
I mean, that's gonna end
Could
up.
be dirty to Dragoon, right?
A skeet?
It's like red. It's like he's corrupted.
Yeah.
Bloody jizz?
Well, remember he does
That happens at 32.
transform not just into Nidhogg, but that thing that sort of looked like
That
nail
thing,
as well. Yeah.
And actually, the second picture here with Elephant out looking up at the sky, that reminds me of the way that Ifrit's summoned in early on in the 1.0 or in the 2.0 main story quest, which is always one of my favorite cutscenes.
Interesting. Yeah.
Now, not a whole lot of quests, like actual quests in the MSQ.
well,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, there's
Spoilers, the very last quest you get from Emmerich, so he doesn't die.
Yeah. Well,
What if he dies at the end of that cutscene?
He's not going to.
I doubt it. I very much doubt it.
Let's see. They've added. That's dumb. I'm not reading that.
The main scenario quests. Eggs over Queasy.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, they okay. So
That's
they
an excellent quest.
adjusted some of the main scenario
Yeah.
quests, some of the early ones.
The new Chronicles of an Era quests have also been added. They've added in some Warring Triad stuff, which from the pictures, I don't think we're going to get another member of the Warring Triad. It's just a continuation of the storyline,
right?
Which is bringing Hydra Van Regulus back to us.
I think that's pretty interesting, though. I've got to say that I think that's one of the most unexpected parts of the patch.
Really?
Is that we're getting any kind of Warring Triad stuff at all. I mean, I think it's good.
I don't think so, because basically the way that I look at it is the Warring Triad now is what the Shiva and Ishgard stuff was in 2.0. It's
Right.
helping direct us to whatever's going to come next.
But the thing is I expected to go from one Warring Triad member to the next directly.
Oh, like each time would just be a new member.
Yeah, and
so
we
what
would get
surprises you is this stuff with Regulus in between them.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. The fact that we're getting a little bit more of a Garlean focus when they have been very much dark through a lot of the 3.0 storyline.
Yeah, just kind of popping up here and there.
Yeah, so
those meddlesome Garleans.
I'm kind of excited for this. I was not expecting this, so I think that's great.
Yeah, and I assume we're going to be fighting Regulus, which should be interesting because the last time that we fought him was in the Ethereal Chemical Refinement Plant.
Right.
He was a pushover.
Where we kicked his ass. But at the same time, we didn't really defeat him. He was just kind of like, all right,
I'm out.
I'm going to go now, guys.
He pieced, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm interested in learning more about his character because I think he's the first Guardian that's actually kind of spoke to me at any kind of level. Like, otherwise, usually I'm just
He's kind of a badass.
Yeah, usually I'm just like, Guardians, come on. Really? Again?
And keep in mind, we did see the appearance of the Emperor, so we know that he's in play in 3.0, but we don't know in what capacity.
Emperor.
Yes, the new
Emperor's
capacity.
son.
Yeah, the new Emperor. That's right.
Also being added, of course, is the Weeping City of
The Weeping City of my cock.
Well, explains why it's
I don't
weeping.
get it.
And of course, there's a picture here of a little Taru hugging the shit out of Kate.
That are killing it.
It's a little bit of reminiscent of Elmira from Tiny Toons.
Yeah.
Tiny Toons, that is. Tiny Toons. Yeah.
And of course, new side story quests have also been added. The paths ye walk.
We walk, not ye.
Oh, well, ye are also going to walk it.
The path Yeezy walks.
Now, and this actually leads up to Nidhogg's rage.
Well, I think, and we'll get into this a little bit in the Famitsu article, but this is, I think, the series of quests that will give us a retrospective on the Heavensward storyline.
And probably lead up to, do you think that Nidhogg's rage is the extreme version?
I think so. Well, possibly. What I am most interested about, and I think the way that they could do this really, really well, because if this is just a straight recap of the Heavensward storyline, then I'm gonna bet that this will probably be the only prerequisite moving forward into 4.0.
I don't think it'll be like a straight recap, so to speak.
What I hope,
but it'll serve as one.
What I hope is that we'll actually get to go back and see the cutscenes through the perspective of Nidhogg.
That'd be interesting.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
We're gonna echo Nidhogg.
That would, I mean, that would be the most interesting thing to me. I don't want to see just like a straight,
one-sided view,
a recap. Yeah, like
I don't think it's going to be a straight recap. I think probably each of these cutscenes is going to focus on a different character's perspective of 3.0.
Maybe. I think
it would also be cool to see some of the stuff that Ysael went through, like maybe
true.
Convincing Race Valgor to take her to that, the final scene where she gets blown to fucking smithereens and we never see her again, and she basically sacrificed herself for absolutely nothing.
Yeah, but I think a lot of specifically Nidhogg's motivations are fairly cloudy, especially going back into the historical context, because he seems to set up a lot of the events that lead to the initial Dragonsong War, and I also think it would be interesting to see it from the perspective of Estinian as well. Like, just straight up see it from Estinian's point of view after being consumed by Nidhogg, because that's an internal struggle that we have not been exposed to at all, and this would be a perfect place to do that.
Yeah, I think your hopes in that case might be a little high. I think, honestly, I don't see
You're not wrong.
lot of motivation coming from Nidhogg besides just the rage. Like, all right, they killed Ratatoska and took my eyes after we were supposed to be friends with them. Now I just want to burn everything.
Yeah, except he was kind of he was a bit of a manipulator in terms of the events leading up to Ratatoska's death.
Was he?
Yeah. If I remember the cutscenes and some of the dialogue, I was like, I feel like Nidhogg is setting this up from behind the scenes.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Because it seems like he was playing Race Valgor in the scene that they share together, and I don't know. I think that there are some undiscovered.
I might have to look into that, because I always got the feeling like the piece was fine, and it was the humans, it was the Ishgardians that fucked everything up, basically.
I feel like I feel like Nidhogg sort of was the deceiver here. So yeah, I don't know. That may be. I mean, it may
just
be
like a hire to blame the dragons.
It may be that we're 6, 7, 8 months out of the last time I viewed the cutscenes, but yeah, if I remember correctly, that was my impression at the time. So I think it would be interesting to explore the motivations of Nidhogg and Estinian as a character and actually as, you know, a combined character. And I think that would be a good lead into whatever Nidhogg's rage is.
I hope that we see the Dragonsong War from the perspective of the Mughals.
Right.
Just hiding in a cranny the entire time.
Right.
Once in a while, you see like an adventurer run by, and he kind of stops and turns around, and just gets all like exhausted and just stomps off.
Ballin'.
Dumbasses.
I mean, we haven't used the Echo a lot. I mean, that would be perfect use.
Well, yeah.
Right?
That is true. We haven't.
We also have Hildebrand is coming back. Juxta,
Hey.
how excited are you?
Yeah.
No, he's your buddy. You want to do him?
What?
There
What?
are 2 quests.
There's always 2 quests, though. It just depends how long the quests are.
One of them is triple question mark. Do you think we're going to get a battle with it?
I think that would be cool.
Have we gotten a bet? We've had what? 2 Hildebrand quests so far, like 2 patches worth. Right?
Yeah, no, like queuable battle.
Wait, is that right, Juxta?
Did we have 2 Hildebrands so far in 3.0?
No, I think we've had 1.
Oh,
Yeah,
so this is only the
one.
second one.
Yeah.
And didn't you mention that in 2.0 we got to fight every other one?
Yeah.
So maybe.
the even Hildebrands will actually get fights.
Okay, now I actually haven't. I've started this Hildebrand, but I haven't finished it yet. Is there anyone off the top of your head right now that you think we could end up fighting?
I have no idea.
Now, I actually the last line was so unmemorable that I don't even know who they were setting up to be the antagonist.
So
Was there?
If there is
I don't
one,
think
it'll
there-
probably just
I
be
don't know.
completely out of left field.
I think all we know for like new characters is that guy that's following us around because Hildebrand is a person and Gigi.
Oh yeah, Gigi.
Yeah, there's Gigi. I mean, but that's the only thing.
Yeah, so I don't.
Who knows?
Maybe we get to fight Gigi and Steiner.
Maybe we'll get to fight a black mage.
We are also seeing the introduction of the next quest of the next leg of the anima weapons, a dream
Can we-
fulfilled.
Like,
Thank
why do
God.
we keep finding all these like casters and mages to help us with the animal weapon?
The animal weapon.
Well, I mean, look at them. It's like that's just the same robe, but one's black and one's white.
I want my animal weapon to be a cheetah.
I'm pretty interested in the fact that
Mine could be
the
a puma.
NPC is an Ora. We haven't seen very many Ora NPCs.
She's actually been walking around idly shower.
Wait, right? Really?
Yep, randomly.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's
Do you
cool.
have proof?
Is it down that corridor?
It's I don't know.
Not
Just down
corridor,
random corridors.
Okay.
I think she's actually. Well, I don't know about this one in particular, but there's an aura that has that same cloak, and she's dark skinned with white hair.
Now that's racist.
I was going to say dark skinned. What are you trying to say?
I'm saying that there's
Are you
a
saying
lot
they
of
all look
aura
alike?
in quests.
I'm saying
that
there's a
look
lot
like
of those people.
Arigato, racist. So they do have a picture here, though, of the UI that we're going to be using for the next step. And there's a picture of a little fairy-looking thing, which I assume is the voice within our...
Yeah, it seems to be the thing that
soul.
keeps... Yeah.
the female voice.
Yeah.
now, it
Well,
looks
if that's
like
what you chose.
the items we're going to be getting are called treat sand or treat crystals or something. And you can add to the resourcefulness, which is piety.
Oh, actually, it's pronounced Trier. It's French.
Attentiveness, which is accuracy. Explosiveness, critical hit rate. Steadfastness, determination, and swiftness, which is skill speed. And we also know that whenever you treat a crystal, whenever you go to like add to this, normally you'll get 3 things added onto it, like 3 points, I guess. But every once in a while, you do have a chance that randomly you could get 5. Now, what I actually think is cool,
RNGesus.
what I think is cool looking at this is we know that our relic weapon is going to be determining a personality, and each of these stats is kind of like labeled with a type of personality trait.
You know, that's interesting. I didn't notice that. The resourcefulness, attentiveness. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
So basically, every animal weapon is going to be a very explosive, steadfast person.
who's also attentive.
A little attentive. Not much.
Not too attentive.
Not too much, but definitely explosive and pretty steadfast.
And never resourceful.
Never resourceful and never swift.
Oh, no. No.
Unless you're bad.
Well, if you're bad, then yeah, you can have a bad...
It should also be noted too that they are going to make it like before with the 2.0 relic weapons. It wasn't until the end that you could start picking up the replicas. Apparently, you're gonna be able to pick up the replicas as you go along.
Yeah, right away.
Catering to casuals.
Lol. Well, hang on. Something about the points. We're not talking about stat allocations. We're talking about filling the bar.
Filling the stupid bar.
Filling the bar from 0 to 120, right?
I think so.
Okay, so it's not someone is at the end of this going to end up with different stat allocations or boosted stat allocations, but that there's still point allocations to go between all of the different categories for the overall 240
Maybe, because
points.
if you look at the top, there's also that growth chart where it says 0 out of 240.
240, yeah. There's 240 overall points, and I think what that means is that like you just get a bit of a bonus every once in a while.
So you think as we grow them, like once you have, let's say, 100 points, you then just get to choose down there where you put the 100 points?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, and the occasional boost is not an actual like boost in stats, but just filling the gauge to its completeness.
Right.
So do you think with the plus minus there you can adjust at will, or is it a one-time thing, you think?
That is actually a good question. I wonder if you can change the allocation as you go, because there is a plus and a minus, and I think you would probably just lose the treat sand or the crystal sand.
Let's see, underneath it does say items necessary to enhance animal weapons can be reviewed by accessing all those notes in your inventory. Enhancements to animal weapons can be transferred to recondition animal weapons by completing the quest A Dream Fulfilled. Any physical damage, magic damage, strength, dex, vit, and mind attributes on your animal weapon will be transferred over to your reconditioned weapon and will be raised to a value befitting a new item level. Please note that all of the attributes will be replaced by those awarded upon completing the quest. Okay, so based on that, I feel like what they're saying is that your weapon won't actually get all the new stats as you go, like they did as we put materia on in 2.0.
Right.
That instead, once you complete it, then they go on to your weapon.
Once your bars are all filled, then you complete the quest, and then
they all go on at one time.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Yeah. So
they've also increased the drop rate for luminous crystals, which is required to undertake the first quest, Soul Without a Life. So cool. I guess Valkyria can finally maybe get off of step 1 of her animal weapon.
Doubtful.
Zing.
Lol.
New story quest has been adding Storming the Hull, which I assume is Hullbreaker?
Yeah.
No, actually,
no.
Players must first complete the main scenario quest, Heavensworth, and the quest King of the Hull.
Is King of the Hull
because I don't think
the first Hullbreaker?
I don't think that the Hullbreakers have anything to do with the MSQ. I know Sorkai does.
Not MSQ, but
the main scenario quest. Wait,
it's a side quest.
Yes, that is the quest for Hullbreaker.
Okay,
yes,
all right.
yeah, okay. So that's the Hullbreaker quest. There you go.
The location of items players must retrieve for certain quests and training myths have been adjusted. Okay, and it looks like basically for what must be the Moogle quests, they've just made the search area smaller.
I think what that is implying is that you'll find what you're looking for in the dead center instead of like off in the side. You know what I mean? Because it was like they would appear on like the borders of that area. So. By the way, just so you guys know, there is some weird weather going on in the area, so if anything happens, we do apologize. It's a little bit beyond our control, but just kind of let you know ahead of time, just in case. So
it's a little beyond our control. If it was normal weather, we could control that.
That's right.
But when it's weird and it's out of our hands.
Sorry.
Also, the Moogle Beast Tribe quests have been added to the Churning Mists.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Please note that, unlike previous Beast Tribe quests, only Disciples of the Hand will be allowed to progress through the Moogle Beast Tribe storyline.
Yeah, Nika.
All the necessary crafting materials will also be provided.
But you get to see them flying on the the trailer.
Just like the Ixal
That was my Nika
too.
impression.
Yep. Any experience received upon completion of the Moogle main quests and daily quests will be adjusted accordingly. Basically the whole little storyline here is that the Moogles are working with the Wyvern/dragons to rebuild all of the palace and stuff out there. So
who gives a shit?
Maybe the reason that you're going around bombing shit, Nika, is because we have to clear out the fucking enemies so that we can build shit. Gosh.
Rogadins.
Right?
Seriously.
Those people. The following items can now be purchased from the Vanu Vanu Beast Tribe vendor, and it shows the Vanu gear. Which, come on.
Why would you? Unless it was dyeable.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised that they made it so that each piece is like its own thing and not like just like the body is everything.
I think that actually leads to some kind of cool glamour possibilities.
Exactly.
Like with the Vanu, like the feet might be cool. Maybe the hands, the head is dumb. But the Nath stuff,
yeah.
Especially that body piece,
McCree
looks
glamour.
pretty cool. I gotta say, it looks pretty cool.
Did you guys see Duty Commence last?
No.
No, I mean, they had some pretty interesting stuff about the Vath, where they showed what the mount actually looks like without the armor. And it looks pretty cool.
You can actually see what the mount looks like without the armor if you do the Vath storyline. Like, if you actually do the quest.
I haven't done it, so I didn't.
Well, there you go.
Gee, we are so surprised.
Yeah, I'm
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, fill-in endgame correspondent.
All right, well.
Give me a drink.
Okay.
Me too.
Go do something you're good at.
Hold on. I'll drink.
All right. Can I do
I still have half of mine, but fill it up. And apparently you can also go back now and do the Ixali dailies and get grade 4 gathering and crafting materials. So, welcome to patch 3.2.
Well, I mean, hey, now these are still worth something.
Yeah, they sell pretty well, I think.
So
yeah, probably. Mm-hmm.
But you gotta do a high wood and Ishgard. Ugh.
Yeah, it's also going to start giving you a warning that you will not receive any reputation.
That's good. That's a nice low quality of life right
that's
there.
catering to casuals.
All you have to do is pay attention.
Yeah, just look at how much reputation did you get.
Or notice whenever you turn in the one that gives you your final bit of reputation, a new quest pops up.
Yeah,
Right
that's the only thing is that is if the quest isn't flagged directly next to me, I'm like, I don't have a fucking clue.
How am I gonna lord over people that I'm like one day ahead of people? If everyone can do that now.
Oh, also, here's another good news for you, Nero. Reputation of points awarded for completing all of the old ones have now been increased.
Yeah, I saw that.
So if you wanted to go and do those, get caught up on some of those cool quest lines.
I don't.
Faster.
I don't.
Go faster now.
I don't.
A lot faster.
Don't.
You gotta go fast.
The duration of the transparent effect granted during the following quest has been increased.
Casuals.
Sylphlin Sting.
No, that was everyone's fucking pain in the
And
ass.
also, the icon for quests unlocking new features or duties has been changed. Now they have
that's
a little.
good.
That's
plus.
a nice. That's nice.
So at least now you'll know. Oh, I should do that if I want something new.
Something cool.
Yeah.
Yep. I guess they've added more sparkles to the destination marker effects that appear during quests.
If I had to guess, I think they probably just made them bigger.
You know what? They should have like a giant beam of light going straight up in the air. That would make things a lot easier.
It would make it a lot easier, but it would also make it really dumb.
Okay.
New airship routes from Ishgard to the Gold Saucer in each of the 3 city-states have been added.
Now, see, you know what this tells me? This tells me that the Steps of Faith are going to get fucking destroyed and we can't go into Ishgard through that bridge anymore. Spoilers.
What's the point? Once you get to the Aetherite, then...
Well, I mean, I'm saying...
It says airship routes will become accessible upon completing the 3.3 main scenario quest. So, yeah, it sounds like it's like a...
What if you get all the way through 3.3 and you still don't have the Ishgard Aetherite and you teleport away? What are you going to do then? Never be in Ishgard again?
Yeah, because you're bad.
That'd be fair, but this is Square Enix.
But Square Enix can never lock anyone out of something like that.
Exactly.
Though.
So
you know what I mean?
So spoilers.
I mean, it's such a dude. I'm telling you, it's such a stark difference going through a Dark Souls game versus playing Final Fantasy. Because Final Fantasy, it's like no one can ever get locked out of anything ever. And with Dark Souls, it's like if you didn't look, it feels like a little bit like FF11, where it's like if you didn't look it up on the wiki and like you do this one specific thing, it fucks you for the rest of the playthrough. Like that quest line is just done. Like you can complete the game, but that quest line you'll never.
Does anybody else get like this vibe from a Nero that he's like this hipster? Whenever anything game related comes up, he's like, well, I mean that's cool and all, but because of playing Dark Souls, this is my better opinion.
I know. It is. It is. It is pretty bad. I mean,
and you know what? It took until Dark Souls 3 for Neo to even get on the Dark Souls hip train.
Yeah, hip train.
It's even worse. I'm
riding that Dark Soul dick now, aren't you?
I'm a hanger on. I'm terrible.
Bandwagon.
Yeah.
Why don't you go play Battleborn?
Bandwagon is broke down, fell to a pit. It's exploded.
I can do this all day. That's a quote from Battleborn. I know that because I've seen the fucking trailer like 900 times. Thank you, YouTube. But you didn't know that because no one has ever played it.
Ooh, get hype!
That's why I had to explain it.
I did hear, though, that a lot of Battleborn commercials have been coming up on Overwatch content, which is hilarious.
That is really funny and also really obvious. God damn it.
Just stop, guys.
Seriously.
Treasure hunts. The Aquapolis has been added.
Excuse me, it's pronounced the Aquapolis.
The Aquapolis has been added.
Aquapolis.
The Aquapolis is a special instance that can be accessed after finding and opening treasure coffers obtained from Dragonskin treasure maps.
Treasure maps.
Players will have the chance to explore long-abandoned ruins filled with treasure.
Treasure.
A test of skill and luck. Players will be required to fight their way to the final chamber to reap rich rewards.
We witchy rewards. I want witchy rewards.
Entering the Aquapolis. Players will have the chance.
This is the worst name. Like, it really is. Jeez.
There's not even any water in there. Thank you. That must have been like some type of like weird translation error.
No, I think what it is meant to imply is that they were once used as aqueducts. I think that's what it's meant to
Just
imply.
stop.
And now it's a metropolis for
Metropolis.
For
good one, Juxa.
Thank you.
So when you open up a treasure chest, you will have a 50% chance that a portal will spawn, and then you have 10 minutes to enter that portal. So that's cool. Progressing through the Aquapolis. Treasure chests located in the Aquapolis are armed with traps, which, when triggered, will release enemies from their cages. Upon defeating them, the player who used the Dragonsong treasure map will be able to open the treasure chest and retrieve the reward and a vault key within. The vault key can be used to open one of the two available doors. Should your party be lucky enough to choose the correct one, you'll be allowed to progress on to subsequent chambers and eventually fight your way into the final chambers. Players will be removed from the Aquapolis should one of the following occur. The wrong vault door is chosen.
Womp womp.
There are no party members present on the battlefield when enemies are released, and the chamber is sealed. Please note that during the battle, incapacitated party members will not be returned to the starting area and must be revived using either actions or items. In the event the party is defeated, all the players will be removed from the Aquapolis and cannot re-enter the instance. So, stock up on those Phoenix Downs. Rewards. There are 3 tiers of rewards in the Aquapolis. Chambers 1 through 3 contain the lowest tier of rewards. Chambers 4 through 6, the second tier, and the final chamber contains the highest tier of rewards. Players will also be granted rewards of a higher grade upon defeating rare enemies that may appear. That's kind of cool.
Interesting. Although Square Enix has remained very mum about what the rewards will be out of here.
Wait till we get to the Famitsu article.
Yeah.
We get a little bit of insight into that. It says the acquisition rate for items. They do. They do.
Do they?
Yeah, the acquisition rate for items that can be obtained through each of the 8 maps has been adjusted. Enemies guarding the treasure yielded by Dragonskin treasure maps will no longer drop items.
Man,
yeah.
I'm not gonna do it then.
Grand companies. Did we ever get like a solid answer on when we're supposed to get the next rank up?
No. I was under the impression that it was supposed to be 3.3, but it
it was
doesn't.
supposed to be soon.
It doesn't look like it is.
I know. All I know is that I wasn't
4.0.
expecting it till the next expansion.
Yeah.
But they did say that they were aiming maybe 3.4. The following additions have been made to the Grand Companies. A materials tab has been added to the QI or the OIC Quartermaster's Grand Company Steel Exchange drop-down menu.
This is different from the materiel tab.
Yeah, this is plural.
No, it's materiel and materials.
Oh, what the fuck? What the fuck's a materiel? So
it's either a typo or...
It's not a typo. It's a real thing. Apparently.
Is it?
Apparently.
No, I don't believe you.
I believe in Square Enix.
Oh, no. Even if players fulfill multiple supply and provisioning missions, the delivery, graphic, text, and music will not play repeatedly in succession.
You see, that's why I tried to stock up and get as many as I could, just so I could have that play for 3 minutes.
Zone out and it's still going.
That's true. It does. If you warp to a different zone, it keeps on going.
If you log out, it follows you.
It waits. You go and you sit down in the shitter, and just from underneath, in the water, the bubbles, you hear it.
That's the Aquapolis.
So they've added a bunch of new items you can get in exchange for Grand Company seals. From the Maelstrom, it's Elfic lavender seeds,
it's the
Void
same
Drake seeds. Oh, it is the same for all of them. Look at that. They're seeds. The following items can be purchased from the resident caretakers in each of the residential districts. The same things. And you can now buy Morning Glories, which is what Nero calls his half-chub in the morning, from the OIC quartermasters each Grand Company headquarters.
Everyone actually mourns that.
It is gloriful.
New items that can be crafted
Glorious.
for company projects have been added, and that is the level 6 ethereal wheel stand and grade 3 wheel of confrontation. And they finally gave us a Heat of the Battle 3, which increases your XP earned through battle by 15%.
More casual content. You can be sure that the LBR FC is only going to get Heat of Battle 1 from now on to counteract this.
A message prompt will now display when players execute the invite to company subcommand. Invite so-and-so to your free company?
Okay.
That's it. Nobody else gets in the fucking FC now, because I'm not going through an extra step to invite you assholes.
Yeah, it's not worth the extra click.
Nope.
Free company's closed. Sorry.
Yep. To new people. I mean, if you're already in there, it's fine, but...
No, we're going to kick you out and never re-invite you.
But see, you know how I know
Just
that's
to
not going to
prove a
happen?
point.
That takes effort.
Yeah, that's true. That's a lot more clicks.
Yeah, they've added a bunch of new furnishings.
Unless you could shift click and remove multiple people.
Shift, drag down, select a bunch of people.
Remove.
Kick.
Yeah.
Nice. They've added new furnishings. That's a pretty cool little entertainment stand right there.
Yeah.
That looks kind of cool.
I don't know, man.
Better than the fucking flower pots.
Is that weed on the table?
It looks like a Pokeball.
It kind of looks. It either looks like incense or like a cigar in an ashtray.
Oh no! I was still talking about the entertainment center.
We moved on to that.
No one's paying attention to that anymore. No,
Flower
what is
pots have
that?
been
What
added.
is that on the fucking table right there?
It's gonna go really well with the with my little hookah bar at the bottom. My hookah lounge, excuse me.
I think I need a new thing in front of me in the studio.
We'll just put 5 of those there.
There you go.
So yeah, flower pots you can now cultivate in your room.
Okay.
Whatevs.
This takes up a large section of the outline. We really do not need to explain any of this.
In protest, I'm not telling you where to get the flower pots from.
Not telling them.
But they do this a lot, though. I mean, they even did
The auction house?
No, you get them from housing merchants in the mist, the lavender beds, and the goblets.
Okay, well, there you go. If you want any more information about flower pots, because...
But apparently
we don't want to read it.
Your chamber size determines how many flower pots you can have. Private chambers are only allowed 2. Small houses, 2. Medium houses, 3. Large houses, 4.
Get fucked.
Yep.
So, yeah. If you want more information, check out the preliminary patch notes over on the Lodestone or a link at our website, limitbreakradio.com.
Yeah, because I'm not telling you how to plant this shit.
No, this is... It takes up so much of it. Jesus Christ.
Yep, they also added the flower vase, so I guess that's cool.
So you can save your flowers.
Shut up.
You can change the color of the flowers using these firelight seeds and ice light seeds.
Following changes and additions have been made to residential districts. Wards 9 through 10 or 12 will be adjusted and added to all res districts. Adjusted? No, they'll just be added. Housing price adjustments. Let's give you a little info here. We're just going to go ahead and talk about first class plots, and then you can just assume that any other second, third, fourth, and fifth is going to be even cheaper. Small plots will start out at 3.7 mil. Medium plots, 20 mil, and large plots, 50 mil. That's the initial pricing.
Okay, so what did we pay for ours?
100.
Okay, that came with all the furnishing and stuff.
Some furnishings.
Airships.
Okay, there was a value there. So.
Also, the Crystal Tower throne chair.
Okay.
Came with the house.
Okay.
Which is just still sitting upstairs.
Yeah.
It's actually on fire. I put it above the Ifrit head so his horns are...
It's the hot seat.
It's the hot seat. that no one ever goes to or knows exists.
People
Because
say
nobody goes up to the second floor.
There are always people AFK in it.
I guess it's like a photograph chair.
Yeah.
Come
Come get your picture on a Nero's lap.
Oh my god.
All right, let's just.
You must be this tall to ride this. Minimum pricing can get as low as 1.8 for a small, 9.9 for a medium, and 24.8 for a large house.
You guaranteed you'll never see those.
Yeah.
Never see those.
Nope,
Yeah,
nope.
but plan on. I mean, 3.75. That's really reasonable for a small house. Like starting at.
Oh yeah, no.
I have that on me. I have that on me right now. You know what I mean? Like I think that's a pretty reasonable starting point.
All of these prices are very reasonable. I mean, I have
think so
50
too, yeah.
mil, so I plan on dropping 20 on a medium house. That way I have a place to get away from all you jackasses.
Lol.
I say it out loud. The following additions and adjustments have been made to the orchestrion. The volume, directional quality, and auditory range of the orchestrion rolls has been adjusted.
Reduced. Just kidding.
Fuckhead. New orchestrion rolls have been added. Woo! And now, orchestrion rolls can be stacked in your inventory.
They couldn't before?
No.
Oh.
The faded ones could.
Oh,
I think.
okay.
But the actual things that people care about.
Gotcha.
But why do they keep doing this? They always don't stack them right away. I don't understand why it's an afterthought.
I don't know.
Oh, so you want to know why they don't just do their job correctly the first time?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe get together with them and discuss it, and maybe figure out how each of you could do that.
Yeah, maybe we could.
Maybe you could.
I don't get it.
Don't smile. That wasn't a joke.
I'm going to take it as that.
The following category has been added to the orchestrion: seasonal for the papaya. And now we move on to the Mandeville Gold Saucer. The time required for chocobo coverings has been reduced to 30 minutes. What the fuck's the chocobo covering?
What? I think it's like where you. Okay, so it's when you like take your chocobo.
Just stop. I don't even want to hear
He's
this.
done racing, so you put him in the garage. So you just put the chocobo over him. So
like a dust cover.
So it
You put him in the fucking garage. Now I'm imagining like Jux wants to commit suicide one day, and he wants to do it by like chocobo fumes. So he's sitting on his chocobo in the garage, and he just shoves a hose in its ass, and then
He'd come out and he's like, these chocobo farts, man.
he's just huffing it through.
More greens.
Some new cards have been added. Obviously, we see Lolo Rito there. That's the pirate guy.
I wonder if that means that
It's a chick.
The pirate chick.
I wonder if this means that Lolorito is going to become relevant again in this patch. Or if we're going to catch up with them.
Baby Midgar Stormer's there too. Does anybody know who those two at the bottom there, the 4-star ones, are?
I said the dude looks kind of like the Warrior of Light in the cutscenes.
Warrior of Dark?
He doesn't look like Darkness though. He's got the Hur hair, the standard Hur hair, which is the Warrior of Darkness slash Light.
No, those are the twins from the Crystal Tower cutscene. Those are the Allegan twins.
Oh yeah, you're right.
From
they
the
are.
Crystal Tower
Are
cutscene.
they? Yeah,
yes.
I think they are.
Yes, that is.
Why do we care about them?
I don't.
They're
think
just
we do.
fucking cards. That's why we don't care about them.
Yeah.
Well, we could.
You know
This
who
is
they need to
stupid.
put on the card is Nero's fucking pirate waifu.
Yeah, with the cans.
Yeah.
Or just put the cans on the card.
They've also added,
Just her boobs. That would be a better card. I think that would be a 4-star card, and she might be a 2-star.
Just be 8s all around.
Yeah. And then, yeah, Scalia's Wyvern is there as well.
It is a Scalia's Wyvern.
It is.
Owned.
Lol.
Introduce the Wyvern in every single facet possible.
Except in any kind of relevance.
You know what? They should add. If they add a Wyvern themed barding, then he could dress his chocobo up to be the Wyvern he never had.
Oh my gosh.
They've
It
also
should reduce its stats though.
It
And
is
just
almost
randomly die.
I almost sort of feel bad for him at this point because it does seem specifically designed to kick him in the dick over and over again.
Which, to be fair, is our job.
I
so-
know. That's the thing. Like, that's our shtick, Square Enix. Don't steal our jokes.
Well, you know, at least now they also have to deal with the fact that sometimes you go to kick him there. You know, today he just might not have it.
Yeah, okay. All right, fair enough.
The following additions have been made to... We're skipping that. New prizes are available for purchasing MGP.
Yes.
Pig. God,
It's the Uribo from Final Fantasy Tactics.
They look so fucking creepy. The bigger they are, the more unsettling it becomes.
I really just, I don't like these.
I hope they're dyeable. Are they dyeable?
I don't know.
I want to be a golden pig.
The only way that this
3.5.
could even be remotely cool is if one day a legion of them just starts following Aniro around during a stream.
Well, now because you said it, of course it's going to happen.
Shows up.
There's also a golden pig.
Minion.
Yeah. The following can now fly. Fenrir.
It's all bad.
The music played while riding the Gobwalker Mountain has been changed.
They didn't even try to find like a clever way to make him fly either.
He's swimming.
He's just running on air.
It's so. Have they shown like a animated picture of him?
I'm sure there's a video.
I'm pretty sure that we've seen it on a live letter or something. Yeah.
It's so dumb.
You
know it's pretty dumb when I like piggy costumes and the new hairstyle, but I hate Fenrir flying in air.
You know what I think the reason is? You don't have Fenrir.
I don't want Fenrir.
Because you can't get him. That's why.
I could get him. I've had more than enough MGP.
I think that if he was 10K, you'd be all about Fenrir. But because he's a million, you don't want to spend that kind of money on him.
I don't even have the stupid turtle mount. What do you have to say about that? Nothing?
No, it's the same thing. I'm just not going to argue with an idiot. New hairstyles have been added.
Okay. Yes. Again, it's
anime, awesome anime. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, they're
right.
Pretty much. They are all very anime.
Yep. New emotes have also been added. We see a wink emote and a new fucking dance.
It's a new dance. It's a Moogle dance.
Great.
It looks awesome.
Upon unlocking all the Aethernet shards in a given city-state, the airship landing will be added to the Aethernet list.
Okay,
that's nice.
Yeah, that's probably good.
For the one time you have to go there a year.
Yeah.
Oh, this is bullshit. Casuals. The location of all Aether currents in all areas have been adjusted. Aether currents will now be placed in locations more easily accessed when progressing through main scenario and side quests.
Was there really a problem? Like,
Jesus, did you even try?
There was not a problem before. The Aether currents were like probably one of the more, they were placed with like a lot of purpose and thought.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it took you through the zones very well. I feel like you're just gonna get it now, like like
why not just give fucking access? Instead of fucking messing them up like you've done, you should have kept them there so that people who wanted a pure experience could have a pure experience, and then just offer like for 300K you can just buy flying,
taking the WoW route.
Let's all just become WoW.
So we could complain about that too.
Terrible.
New objective has been added to the challenge log, and that's opening treasure coffers in the Aquapolis.
What's the name of the objective?
Aqua Gleam Hunter.
Force.
Aqua Gleam Hunter.
There you go.
I like that.
Good one.
They've also changed the rewards for all the up for a challenge. They used to be 4, 4, 5, 5, and 5K. Now they're all 10, except for the final one is 15.
That's a nice chunk of change.
That's not bad. That is not bad. That's
just throwing money at us now.
If I didn't have the benefactor, I would probably do these more.
Is that like evidence of some pretty kind of crazy inflation? Like, why are they trying to pump that much more gil into the economy?
They are adding a bunch more
to like challenge logs and stuff too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because the way you have to look at it is, I wouldn't really say that there's a lot of gil sinks. Obviously, they're adding all these new wards, right? By houses and stuff. But I think that probably because of the fact that people are spending more money on materials and stuff, maybe the economy isn't as bad off as we think it is, and gil's actually starting to have meaning again.
But everyone gets a free 5 materia every week.
Yeah.
I have pretty much nothing to spend money on. The game
I need to do my materia this week.
The game just shits money at you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of curious what the justification is on the numbers side of this, in terms of what is Square Enix
as crazy as what we think it is.
Well, what's Square Enix seeing in the economy that we're not? You know what I mean? Like, it feels like a really odd change to make, especially when I've got so much of the fucking currency just sitting around. So
you can buy a house
if you want. But
only
I said, are you gonna buy a house?
No, am I?
Yeah,
probably not.
You want a small little place to call your own?
No.
Okay.
What would I do with it?
I don't know. Jack off?
Yeah, it would be empty though. Like it would be completely
You just
bare.
go and find it near. He's just sitting like Indian style in the center of his small fucking house.
In the piggy suit.
So as you come in, he unequips it really quick. He'd rather be naked in front of you instead of the piggy suit.
I wasn't doing anything.
There's a vase next to him with a dead rose.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're supposed to knock.
Just a giant Lords of Verminion board in the center of the room.
Get out of here, oink! I mean, you fucker!
The minion pops out from behind my back like, ah, shit! Go away.
Little Louis Swap pulling his pants up. New structures have been added to Idleyshire.
Yay!
Oh, good.
Is that that place on the right
Hill.
there?
It is.
Yeah, that's where the guy stands where we currently get the materia from.
That is correct.
Which is like supposed to be like a bomb factory or something.
I think it's just supposed to be a goblin facility.
Can we please go in there?
I really hope that we can go in there. I really hope that it's going to be, like a place with a door.
Yes.
And have a whole bunch of the merchants and shit.
This is my little letter to Square Enix. When it comes to designing your cities, more is more.
Internals.
Okay. Well, not even just that. Even
no painted rocks. Let me go in that fucking building.
Even currently, when you see something that you can obviously jump on top of, but you can't because there's an invisible wall.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Make it so that we can't fall off of shit. But anything we see,
right,
we should be able to walk on. All the fucking scaffolding and shit. Let us go down there.
I agree.
Come on.
And make it more vertical. Give us walkways and pathways so I can jump down on people. Like Batman.
The following actions and traits have been adjusted. Here we go. Dark Knight. The increased damage effect has been increased from 15 to 20% in PvP only.
Yeah. It's a thing. It's not bad.
Marked target will now take an additional 10% damage from attacks.
That's kind of... Actually, the Soul Survivor change in PvP
only
is pretty cool, and I actually really wish that they would add that debuff in PvE.
I was going to say, I actually didn't realize
so what?
now
you want to be a ninja too? You're already basically a dark paladin. You want to be a dark ninja too with your Soul Survivor?
Yeah, except the point of putting up Soul Survivor is that at the end you get HP and MP back.
It wouldn't be up all the time.
It wouldn't be up at the beginning of the fight. Your debuff would be up at the beginning of the fight. Mine would be up right at the end. So it would be sort of like cascading debuffs.
What's the cooldown on it?
I don't remember. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Bad Dark Knight.
I mean, you can
just survive more.
Use it. I can use it fairly often, like once every 3 or 4 pulls, somewhere around that.
Stop being a ninja.
Rogue ninja changes. Targets will now receive 20% less HP recovery via healing magic, and that is in PvP
with
only.
Shadow Fang.
With Shadow Fang. Yep.
That's our 1-step DOT.
Yep. Here's the cool stuff, though. Death Blossom. Potency has been increased from 100 to 110, and TP cost has been reduced from 120 to 100.
Oh, to 100? Wow.
Holy shit, I just jizzed all over your tablet.
That's not bad.
Thanks.
No problem. That's really good.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
So good.
Katon potency has been increased from 180 to 250. Wow. And Doton from 30 to 40.
The Katon is a big boost.
Now you always want a Katon when there's 2 targets or more.
Wow.
If you can hit something else, you're Katoning now instead of Rayton.
By the way, thank you to Ryoko and Xeris who said that Soul Survivor's 120-second cooldown. So there you go.
Oh, okay.
Jux, you want to read this Archer and Bard stuff while I go fap real quick?
No.
Well, come on. The Bard stuff is pretty amazing, too.
Well, we got...
I do actually have to go to the bathroom.
We got Venomous Bites. Just throw your headphones down and make a loud noise.
Yeah.
Idiot. Venomous Bite potency of the Venom effect has been increased from 35 to 40. And Wind Bite's potency of the damage over time has been 45 to 50. And then Blunt Arrow potency increased from 50 to 100. Flaming Arrow potency DOT from 35 to 40. Big one. Their songs, Mage's Ballad and Army's Paean. The damage reduction on self has been changed from 15% to 10%, and the cast time has been reduced from 3 seconds to 1.5 seconds. So that's just a global cooldown, so Bards are excited about that. We have Battle Voice recast time changed from 300 seconds to 180 seconds. Imperial Arrow potency increased from 220 to 230. And Sidewinder potency, when the target is suffering from both Venomous Bite and Wind Bite, has been increased from 250 to 260.
Those are some pretty significant potency
Especially
buffs.
the cast times.
Yeah, the cast times are big there too, from 3 to 1. I mean, they just got cut in half basically.
Yeah, well that fits in the global cooldown now, so now they're not actually wasting any DPS time casting a song. They can just do that within the global cooldown.
Right.
Oh wow. That actually seems like a pretty significant change to their I mean, as much of a rotation as a bards can have.
Yeah, well, yeah, but again, remember when bards are singing a song, they're limited by their MP too, so they can't just cast songs forever.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, a lot of bards are really excited by this. Hopefully, it'll get people to start playing the job again, because a lot of people have abandoned it since the Wanderer's Minuet. So
yeah. We have a resident bard who wants to talk about the bard changes real quick.
Oh, okay. All right. Someone on the line?
Yeah, he's on Discord.
Oh, okay. I didn't get a message from the Kookster.
Kooky.
Tisk. All right. Who do we have on the line?
We have Shira Heartslot.
Hey, what's up, Heartslot? How's it going?
Not bad. I felt the need to speak on these because, one, holy crap, these changes, and two, this is an extremely knee-jerk change without adjusting the primary issue that basically every bard has, including myself at this point, which is Wanderer's Minuet, and the fact that it basically got slapped onto the job.
Right.
And
so
is not addressing it.
What would, I mean, because Wanderer's Minuet was a very purposeful addition on Square Enix's part. I don't feel like they added that, like they just added that on a whim. It was with a very clear intention, but a lot of people still, I think, struggle with maybe what that intention was or if that was a good move. So yeah, I mean, Wanderers is the big, I think is the big issue holding Bard back at the moment. But what would you do to adjust Wanderers to be able to fix the problem without just straight up removing the job ability?
In terms of that, there are a number of things they can do. One, just, make it, I mean, it could be a trait for a permanent buff stack. Something that a lot of the reason why a lot of bards dropped it or have gone over to machinists now is just due to the fact that they don't have the mobility that even a machinist does. And I'm talking as somebody who actually prefers the bard style to machinist. Yeah, it becomes a little bit cumbersome sometimes to be able to move and do mechanics at the same time, especially with the current tier of Savage.
Right. And I think that's what, in the 2.0 era, that's what bards sort of lorded over Black Mage is that, you guys have to be rooted, but we can...
That's why I became a bard in the first place, just so I could run gun everything. Yeah. But, I mean, Square Enix has pretty clearly said, hey, if you're ranged, then we want you to be casting stuff. So cast Arrow.
And that's the thing, is that they said that not just through the changes that they made with Bard, but also the addition that they made with the Black Mage ability.
Ley lines?
Ley lines, yeah. So I think that is a pretty clear indication, and I think that was Square Enix's attempt to set Machinist apart. I don't know that either of those changes were necessarily that beneficial for either job, because Black Mage was already sort of semi-rooted, and that roots them even more, and it definitively roots bards after 50. And I think what they wanted to do is they wanted to say, okay, that style of play is for machinist. It's just unfortunate that they decided to make that the new, that was the new job. And I think what may have been smarter for them, hindsight is always 20/20, but what may have been smarter for them is to keep Bard a mobile job and to make Machinist a much more rooted range DPS.
That always seemed like such a fucking kick in the balls to me, was to, to take a job that's played like that forever, completely change it, then make the new job play like that.
Yeah.
Like, really?
Yeah, it made very little sense, and I'm hoping they're really considering a major overhaul of that for 4.0, because I know we're not going to see it in this line of the series. But
The environment than you do.
it's not the mobility. It's
No?
not the mobility. Mobility is fine. The purpose between the two different jobs and play styles is machinist did at this point. Sustained DPS on Bard just completely beats machinist, and it's a kick in the balls right now. It's a 5% increase in overall damage, and before sustained, machinist and Bard were kind of equal. Now Bard just completely surpasses them. The only place you're really going to see that difference in that gap close is Savage, basically.
Where the bards don't have there's not as much an ability to root yourself. You have to stay far more mobile in a raid environment than you do.
It's not the mobility. It's
No?
not the mobility. Mobility is fine. The purpose between the two different jobs and play styles is machinist is about the burst. So the transition phases and all these mechanics and transition phases that happen, especially in the current tier of Savage. I'm speaking primarily to A6S, A7S, A8S especially, that you can do that and you're not really hampered by your damage because, well, the moment everything comes back down, if you got Wildfire out, just do your damage and you're good to go.
But this is
Bard
only
is very much steady state momentum.
Yes, but at the same time, though, this is something that's always in flux because Machinist wasn't even a blip on the radar until they got the buffs in, what was that, the last patch? So
Which brings me to my next point of, in 3.4, Machinist will surpass Bard again with no additional buffs. The concept of Wildfire is going to cause Machinist to completely surpass even this.
Well, what makes you say that? Because, I mean, there are literally no changes to Machinist. You think that there's going to be a big change coming in the future?
It's the fact of eye level scaling and the very concept of Wildfire being a multiplier rather than a straight addition to
as they get more stats,
additional.
It's just going to
As they get more stats, they become more and more explosive.
You don't think that before it gets to that point that maybe Square Enix might change something and nip it in the bud so that Wildfire doesn't get that broken?
There are already people doing 16, 18K Wildfires in Savage.
Here is my call to Square Enix then, and this is really on behalf of Skuro. Nerf Wildfire before it's too late.
Yeah, don't let this guy get an ego, please.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, it does really speak to the design differences between them. And for 4.0, I would highly encourage Square Enix, if any of them are listening to this, or if anybody's got any contact flows.
They're not.
Yeah, I know. Laugh it up on that one. But that's what you're looking at here is this is going to be a continuous problem for Square Enix. They need to really take a look at this because in 3.4 it's going to be the same problem, and that's what I'm talking about. Is it's not addressing the root problem. They need to decide what they're going to do with this job.
So hashtag don't let Wildfire run wild.
Speaking to the 18K Wildfires, it's okay because Skuro can never push his damage that high.
Yeah,
anyway.
he's not 09.
He can get like 18 Wildfire.
Yeah, that
Crit,
sounds,
of course.
that sounds about right. Thank you for the call, Heart Slot. If you'd like to call Limit Break Radio, talk about any of the job changes or any of the changes coming in patch 3.3, you can send a Skype message to Limit Break Radio, 810-515-8715, or limitbreakradio.com/Discord, like Heart Slot just did. Okay, that gets us to Summoner.
This is really weird to me. Summoner gets basically, what is this?
A small little buff.
Yeah, a 10% or 10 potency on their Garuda Eggy
and 15 on Ifrit.
Yeah, and 15 on Ifrit. Like really? Do you need that?
But if it's on the auto attack, that's something that's consistent throughout the fight.
Well,
so
yeah,
they should see maybe not a huge DPS increase, but
it's something.
It's something, but like, did they need that? I mean,
I don't know.
I
don't think they were.
I don't know, because the way you have to look at it is this is something that's going to affect your overall, regardless of what you're doing, damage, right? So maybe they were looking at like summoners in raid settings, and obviously they take the entire raid's DPS overall into account, maybe they were looking at it and being like, oh, in these cases, it's like, 5-6% behind. And looking further at it, it was summoners were the reason. And making just a small buff like that helps to just, bump up the overall DPS a little tiny bit.
I guess. I don't know. I don't. No, the weird change.
Or it could even be something where they're not really sure. Like maybe this is the reason why. Let's try a small change to see if that helps or not.
It's so minor. Like it's so minor. It's barely even worth talking about. I don't think if it wasn't outlined in the patch notes, I don't think any summoner would have ever noticed ever.
And this is super imbalanced too. Where is the Titan Eggy buff?
I don't know if it's as minor as you guys think, because imagine if that was Ninja saying your auto attacks now do, 15% more potency.
I guess.
Would that be minor for us?
Would it?
No, but it's...
Would you notice right away?
Would you notice? No, not really. And it would be...
you would notice if you parse, like your overall numbers would, mathematically, they have to be higher.
My argument is, like, summoners were, like, in a good spot before this anyway, so I don't know why they just were like, oh, also, here's a little bit of a summoner buff. Like,
okay, so it's not that it isn't useful, you're just not sure why.
Yes, that's what
I can agree with that, yeah.
Who knows? Astrologian also saw some changes. The recast time for spread has been reduced from 60 to 30 seconds.
This is so good.
That seems huge. What the fuck does spread do?
Spread is
Eagle?
where... Yeah, hopefully. No, it's where you take your card and put it face down for later use.
Yeah, you do.
Face down, ass up.
Aspected Helios. Damage nullified by the magic barrier erected.
Yeah.
When nocturnal sex is active has been increased.
When nocturnal what?
Sex
has been increased from 100% to 120% the amount of the HP restored. And collective unconsciousness can now be canceled by mechanics that launch the player into the air. What relevance is that?
Basically, they minorly nerf collective unconscious because when you get knocked up into the air with like Nevery boss at the end, that wouldn't like interrupt you. Now it does.
What does collective unconsciousness do?
That's the bubble move where they put up a barrier and they can't move for 10 seconds, and they also give you a regen.
Oh, so if they move, it stops.
It's a channel ability.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that seems like before it may have been even like a borderline glitch.
And if you get stunned, that'll cancel it. But if you got like knocked up in the air, you're fine.
That's
so
yeah. That's
All right. So they changed a few visual effects. The visual effect of Gladiator's Provoke has been changed.
Interesting. Okay.
The visual effect of Wildfire has been changed. I hope it looks dumb now.
I hope they made it worse.
I hope that when Skuro does it, there's just like a cox going into his mouth. Command to toggle the gauze barrel has been added. Good for you. And it looks like they've changed the following PvP action, and that's Etheric Burst, which basically all casters have. Recast time has been reduced from 180 to 120 seconds, and Enhanced Etheric Burst has been reduced from 150 to 90 seconds. So
so on top of the HUD changes that we'll be talking about here in just a minute, we also got some PvP preset changes as well.
Yeah.
Which I think is remarkably cool. I mean, between the two,
they needed it, man.
Yes, they did. I totally agree. But I think that's a really excellent QOL change right there.
Mm-hmm. Qual change.
Qual.
Yep, so that's cool for PvP people. Apparently now you have, when you're being raised by somebody, you have a decline action that shows how much time you have till...
You have to press and hold the button to decline it.
So
you can't be like, oh, whoops, I declined it, send me another raise.
Oh, that's kind of funny, actually. That's a good one.
That's a kick in the dick for my trolling, so fuck you, Square Enix. It's nerfing fun.
Nerfing fun since 2.0. New dungeons have been added. Sorkai.
Sahor.
Sahor Kai?
Sahor.
Is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah.
You're a Sahor.
Kai.
AI.
And Hullbreaker Isle hard mode has also been added.
Hullbreaker fart mode.
Yep. New trials. The final steps of faith.
No, really. It's like the final steps, comma, no, really, we promise it's the final. The Steps of Faith was just a setback.
Except for the Minstrel's Ballad, Nidhogg's
Just kidding.
The Final Steps remix, the Electric Boogaloo, and Knuckles. God. Players may now queue for Containment Bay S1T7 Extreme via the Duty Finder. And players will now receive the power of the Echo. In the event, all party members are incapacitated during the following trials: Containment Bay, S1T7, and the Extreme mode. That is indeed Sephiroth. Here's something cool. After falling out of bounds during the Naval Hard, or the Naval Extreme, the camera will now return to the center of the battlefield.
Again, nerfing fun. If you fall off, you have to sit down there and look at your dead ass for the rest of the 3 minutes.
Yeah, the rest of everybody around you.
Look at your shame!
And I can't believe that this is a thing that they had to change. Players who already possess the Nightmare mount can no longer need or greed the whistle.
See, again, nerfing fun.
That is bullshit, because you've never been able to roll on the other horses. If you have one of the other horses, you can't roll on them. Why would they just forget to do that to Nightmare for this entire time? What?
That is pretty brutal.
It's because it's so hard to get it to drop. So they're just like, oh yeah.
Trollololol.
The Alliance Raid Dungeon, the Weeping City.
My cock.
His cock has been added.
My cock.
Rewards you can receive once per week.
It's pretty.
Blah, blah, blah.
We know the drill. We know the drill.
It's the things.
They've also moved the what is it,
the materia.
The matter. Yeah,
the materia thing for grade 5 materia to it. A few adjustments to Void Arc. The Echidna card will no longer appear in a treasure coffer, but can now instead be obtained just for clearing. The matter has been moved to the city, and the drop rate for the wind-up Echidna and coffin lid has been increased. I've never seen
the coffin lid drop.
Coffin lid.
No, I've never seen it.
I think I've seen the wind-up Echidna once.
I was gonna buy the coffin lid for the house, and then I'm like, oh, let's see. Well, this is new. I'm gonna look at this. Oh, hey, it's like $32 million.
Yeah. I've seen it once and rolled a 4.
Way to go.
Fail.
You suck.
Yeah, right.
This is why you're an intern.
Shameful.
Learn to roll better, you bad person.
To load the dice.
I need more drink.
That's how we know you're a bad player, too.
Yeah.
The Raid Finder has been added.
Whatever you roll, that is how big your cock is. So that 4 means your cock is small. Small penis.
Okay.
All right.
Just so he knows.
The Raid Finder's here, guys. Now, here's something interesting that... Now, hold on. It finally has been rated to add Finder. Yeah, so you can only participate in whatever the current Bleeding Edge content is.
Right.
Yes.
For Raid Finder.
Right.
Which does not include, like, Primal fights.
It does not include Primal EXs. It is only pretty much, right now, for Alexander Savage. Yeah.
It is only for
the latest
raids.
Alexander Savage. Yeah, not even A1 through 4.
No, just whatever the most bleeding edges.
That's right.
But there are different ways that you can queue up for it, aren't there? Matching requirements: duty complete, duty incomplete, duty completion, practice, and you can also choose practice phase selections as in the first, middle, and the final phase.
And in order to be able to flag duty complete, and you need to have cleared the duty in the first place. So it will. I think that's kind of cool. That, like, you know, you can't really be you can't be deceptive with it. So I mean, that's smart.
It's smart, but like I feel like this is like kind of like throwing against like their whole train of thought, where like they don't want to like hide your achievements and stuff, but at the same time they can like also implement this.
Yeah, but at the same time though, if you had people coming into, you know, duty completes that clearly don't know what the fuck they're doing, like, it would ruin a lot of parties. Yeah. I think that you get more success with this method and with this system.
Okay, but what about my alt? That, look, I've totally done it. I've cleared it.
Shut up.
I've cleared it multiple times on my white mage, and I want to bring my
clear it
Dragoon
again.
in.
Then clear it again.
I want to bring my Dragoon in.
Then clear it again.
He knows how to do it, so
just let me come in with you.
He's beyond practice, duty incomplete.
Yeah, don't make me play those scrub tiers.
Too bad. Play them. You gotta. If you want to, I mean, either that or make a static like everyone's been doing. It seems like that's the point of Raid Finder.
I'm not a Dragoon. No one's going to join me. This is all hypothetical. Obviously, I'm not a Dragoon. Dragoons are dumb. And gay. Look at Ascalia.
Well, obviously.
Ba-da-da-da-da-dump.
Can we move on?
Yeah, are you done?
Yeah, I'm waiting for you.
Duty completion.
Jesus.
Or when selecting duty completion, the unspecified DPS player cannot be the same class or job as other players to be matched together in a party. So you cannot have two of the same tank. You cannot have two of the same two of the same healer. And the DPS roles are as follows. There will be one melee DPS, one ranged caster DPS, one ranged melee DPS, and then one wild card.
Hold on. So there's going to be one ranged melee DPS?
Like one ranged physical, sorry. Yeah, like Bard or Machinist.
Okay.
Yeah. And then one wild card, which could be any of those slots.
It's Charlie.
It's Charlie. You do Charlie work. You get a bat with nails in it, and you have to kill the rats.
That's right.
Yep.
Squirrel work?
Squirrel work. Yep. Average item levels for each of them. You need to be 215 for Midas 1, 220 for Midas 2, 225 for Midas 3 and 4.
Sounds like that's not a problem for most people at this point.
And the limitation on certain rewards for Alexander Midas has been removed, so now you can go and get as much as you want in the non-savage version.
Except the Might and Gear. You're still waiting 7 weeks for those. Because...
I haven't used my first round of Might and Gears.
That's because you only have one job that you play, and your relic is enough.
And you're a dick.
Not only... but I mean, like, I've been using the lore for things. So
no, I suppose. The strength of the Echo granted in Alexander Gordius Savage has been increased up to 20% now. All you have to do is enter. You ain't got to die anymore. Just got to enter. Anti-Tower and the Lost City of Amdapor have been rotated out of Expert, replaced by Sorkai and Hullbreaker. They have now been put into the Duty Roulette level 60 dungeons.
And still, the Aether Chemical Research Facility mocks me from that list.
But they have actually
every
updated.
Goddamn time.
They've updated now what you get in there. It used to be 50 esoterics and 10 lore. You now get 150 ESO.
Yeah, well, great. Increase the lore output. I don't know what to do with my ESO.
We don't want ESOs.
I have no idea what to do with my ESO. I just keep buying the Orchestrion roll and selling it for like 80K.
Just buy the high quality stuff and sell it on the market.
Is it still 80K?
It is.
They've
at least the last time I put it up.
Added the final steps
like
of faith
72.
to Duty Roulette as well.
Okay.
Trials, and they've added a bunch of shit to Duty Roulette Mentor.
Frontline. Did you talk to? They added Fields of Glory to Frontline.
To the new front lines. Yep. Yeah. And then there's also a big chart here telling about all the different lore changes. Basically, you're going to get more ESOs from stuff and less lore from stuff,
which kind of sucks. I mean, I understand that that they do this adjustment every time, but it just sucks that you get less lore out of the same dungeons over time.
Yeah.
Just because they get easier over time.
You're not wrong, but at the same time, it's like you could just increase the output from the current dungeons by 10, and it does the same thing.
The guild reward for completing dungeons introduced prior to patch 3.0 has been increased.
Again, more guild output for no reason.
The following additions and changes have been made to the Duty Finder. It will now tell you how much, what rewards you've already received. It says the number of parties recruiting.
Oh, good. That's actually really good.
It says the number of parties recruiting for duties displayed in the Duty Finder will now update automatically when opening the window. A tooltip will now display when selecting the Join Party in Progress checkbox, and duties with more than one weekly reward will now indicate which rewards have been received when viewing the Duty Finder. Very cool.
All right.
They fixed the Duty Finder.
You know, whatever happened to that looting rule where you could auction off drops for Gil?
What did happen to that?
I didn't make that up, did I?
No, they did talk about something like that, didn't they? It's something that, where you could either...
Wait, was that something they actually said, or was that something that we expanded on based on something we used to do in WoW?
I swear they said that these are the new looting rules that we're going to add, and then it's like need before greed, greed only, loot master, and then this auction one that I was so hyped about.
Maybe.
I remember it. I remember something about it at least, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Language settings for the Duty Finder can now be found in the Duty Finder settings window.
Okay.
Yay.
Actually, the average wait time displayed after registering for duty has been adjusted. The icon displayed while queuing for the duty has been changed to a little... Oh, motherfuckers. Might have to update my splash screen now. Fuck you guys. Additional information will be displayed in the Duty Ready confirmation window and log window when registering for a trial or a dungeon. Duties wherein players do not cast lots for items will no longer display loot rules when registering via the Duty Finder. And now a duty finder menu can be accessed while inside instances. So I guess that's cool.
Yeah, because you can now abandon and vote abandon, or leave and vote abandon, stuff like that.
The PvE encounter Fields of Glory, aka Shatter, has been added to Frontline. We got some pretty cool things here.
That dude, okay, the screenshot of whatever that tank shit is pretty fucking sweet.
Wait, which one?
Which picture are you looking?
What are you looking at?
The bottom one.
Oh, the bottom one. Okay, yeah.
That's the stuff you said looked awful.
Nuh-uh. If it is, it's dyed white, and I didn't know you could dye it, which that just brings up its glamour possibilities even more. But that looks pretty sweet. It may not be even tank. That might be a Dragoon right there.
I was going to say, that looks like that's a pole arm.
It does look like a pole arm. It's hard it's hard to tell what exactly that is because the angle's really weird. But I like that set. That's a good-looking set right there.
Yeah, so what I've read through here briefly, basically the way that Shatter seems to be working is it is going to be like Seal Rock in the way that there are going to be these giant sort of monolith things that you have to control to get points. You also get points for killing people. But then there's also these like giant icicle things you have to go around and destroy, and destroying those gives you points as well, which is kind of akin to the orbs that you used to have to kill in... the one front line.
Secure?
Yeah, and Secure.
So, but it's based off of data. So if you're attacking one of these nodes, you're accumulating data.
Right.
And then the team with the most amount of data at the end wins.
Yeah, see, it says right here, Icebound Tomoliths. Icebound Tomoliths contain data and dot the playing field. They will be inactive at the start of the campaign and will activate at random after a fixed amount of time, like in Seal Rock. The data from those Tomoliths can be collected by attacking them, and once they are destroyed, data will be rewarded to each of the Grand Company based on the amount of damage inflicted. So it is nice that just because you don't do the most damage doesn't mean you'll get 0 for it.
You don't get fucked over.
Yep.
Right, yeah.
And then they have different ranks. Active Icebound Tomoliths will either be large or small. Obviously, the bigger they are, the more data that they have.
And the overall rules of engagement, just so players increase their team's rating by occupying Allegan Tomoliths, destroying Icebound Tomoliths, and defeating players of the opposing teams. And the first to accumulate the required amount of data will be declared the winner. So, yeah, I mean, that seems like a pretty straightforward PvP setting right there.
Yep. Now, are these the adrenaline rushes that they're listing? Are they new?
They're not new for like the front lines things.
No, yeah.
So.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, why are they listing them if they're not new? But all right. Yeah. The rest of it's basically just talking about the usual, I guess, PvP.
It does answer a question that we had, that the sides are assigned at random, that they're not static. So.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. And then the little bit of lore that we got last week with Fields of Glory Shatter and Papa. This sort of relates to your theory. Was that it is going to take place in Korthus Eastern Lowlands, and that there are remnants of the battlefield or whatever Nail had originally used to bring Meteor down the moon. I can't think of the name of Dalmoon. Yeah, thank you. And so I think there might be some very interesting context clues or environmental clues that we can draw out of it. I'm just really interested to see the area overall. And I think that this is indicative. So if this is representative of where, Korthus Eastern Lowlands is going to be, I think that we're probably going to get the Korthus Eastern Highlands as with 4.0. And as we start moving towards what I assume is going to be either at Alamigo or
Doma. Oh my god! I hope we go to
Zelfatol.
Doma.
So
it's so weeb over there.
Unless
actually making a change in addition to Diadem. So the following changes and additions to Diadem, that for those of you that may have overlooked this, is when joining your duty, your selected language will these be displayed in the log window.
Ha! Eat that, Skuro.
A change has also been made to the function of the triangle button, or Y, when selecting the duty. The cursor will now move to the commence button after selection. So I think a lot of people probably overlooked, and a lot of people are going to be excited about, but they are actually making a change in addition to Diadem. So the following changes and additions to Diadem, that for those of you that may have overlooked this, is when joining your duty, your selected language will these be displayed in the log window?
Ha! Eat that, Skuro.
A change has also been made to the function of the triangle button, or Y, when selecting the duty. The cursor will now move to the commence button after selection.
Yay!
There you
These
go.
are the long-awaited changes that we have needed to Diadem, and this will breathe life back into this system. I am sure of it.
Woo!
Also, the following change needs to happen to Diadem. Diadem has been deleted. And replaced with just more Lords of Verminion tables.
Actually, when I was streaming the other night, somebody asked me what I thought of the Lords of Verminion changes, and somebody else in the chat said was like, was it, quote, we have removed Lords of Verminion from Final Fantasy XIV? And I just saw the chat at a glance, and I thought that's what they had done, and I was about to stand up and applaud.
Shit, yeah!
And then I looked again, and I was like, oh, okay.
It's a joke.
Okay.
It was jokey jokesters.
You got me.
They've also added a Nidhogg's Rage dummy to Stone, Sky, and Sea.
Who cares?
New items have been added. All right, here's the gear. So now I was trying to go through and figure out what this gear was again. I know that the male Makote is like the Ninja Bard. Obviously, next to him is the tank. Or the Ninja Monk, and then the tank. Is that the Bard on the far right there?
Yes. Definitely.
Bard only, or is there anyone that they would share it with? Would they probably share with Machinists?
Yeah, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what? The other ones, all the mages, all the casters?
Yeah, I guess I could see that.
Does that mean that, like...
Oh, yeah, because it's got the bell bottoms.
Okay, true. So Dragoon is going to get...
Probably tank.
The tank one, too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They usually do.
I don't hate these.
The top one, I'm not that into. The top selection, there's nothing in there that jumps out at me.
I don't think that there's anything... Yeah, nothing jumps out. Now, granted, they're not ugly.
No, they're not terrible.
They need to be dyeable, but they're not going to be. They're not going to be. This is the Void Arc stuff.
The next big thing, you need to be able to make your Raid Finder gear dyeable. Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, so the next stuff.
Okay, now hold on real quick. Apparently, people have been saying that the one on the far left is like something from... The last Revenant or something?
Remnant?
Remnant? I mean, I don't know. I've never played this game.
Nope.
But I don't know.
I own it. You want to take it?
No.
Okay.
All right, so the next
you
one
could
down.
stream it. You could stream, period.
I could. If I could sit for extended periods of time.
And I
was
making play something other than Overwatch. Because you're in there sitting for extended periods of time playing Overwatch, which you're also not streaming. Oh, what about in the morning when you wake up and you're not in pain and you play Hearthstone for a few hours? I mean, you could probably stream that.
You
could,
but
no, he doesn't. He doesn't do that either. And yet, this motherfucker had the audacity the other day to criticize me for not using the expert sphere grid when I stream. Yeah, fuck you.
What's your stream time at? What's your hours logged for the month?
Not counting show days.
And how much money were you given to stream FF11?
Some money.
Mm-hmm.
Some money.
Yeah. About that.
Go ahead. We'll even let you come up with an excuse. Give us your excuse.
We'll just pull this. We'll just pull this thing over to the side.
The floor is yours.
Yeah.
For just a little bit of background for the thousands of people that download the show and maybe don't tune into the streams. Juxta was donated $200. $400. Holy shit.
We got $440 worth of donations that night when I challenged Juxta to stream FF11 from people who said directly they wanted to see it.
And lately, more people have been watching Nika and Ascalia stream 11 than they have watching them stream 14.
I think so. And I think seeing genuine frustration on Juxta's part is something that people want to watch.
Yeah, okay. So what's your excuse for not streaming?
Yeah, that's right.
Because we have 440 reasons why you should.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have roughly...
There's also
1,100 reasons why I haven't been streaming, and that's the amount that I'm having to pay through physical therapy that my wonderful health insurance has decided not to pay for.
But at the same time, though, you could have made a $300 dent in that.
You could have.
Yeah.
If you'd have streamed more than me.
That's right. You would have taken that down to $900.
That's true.
To be fair, he's not going to win that one.
No, he's not. Not anymore.
He wouldn't win it anyway.
If he streamed in the morning,
Okay, he would might.
He'd be able to rack up those hours on us because that is when the channel is dead.
He might.
Dead.
I'm actually surprised how close Nika's come this past month.
I am really impressed. I'm very impressed. I don't know. There's a bit of a gap that I want to close here, so I'm going to see if I can do that in the next week.
Ooh, challenge accepted.
We'll see.
All right, so this next bit of gear here.
Oh, hey.
You should stream Juxta. No pressure. Here's more money for no relatable reason. Remember, no pressure.
We're going to put that into the total, so $465.
Thank you, Melkithera. All right, let's get back to this gear set here.
These gear sets are very unique.
I think that these are actually kind of cool.
Let's start with the one on the left.
Okay. All right.
What does that look like to you? Casters?
That looks like Caster.
Because hold on, the next one, that has to be Caster. They're not going to give two Caster ones.
That's true.
So that one on the left,
Monk?
that has to be Monk and Ninja.
You think?
Yeah. I think so.
Okay, so I'm obviously not in love with the legs on there, and the feet are pretty. You can write them off. I do like the body and the short sleeve and whatever they've got going on with the hands. That's pretty cool.
You know what it looks like the hands are? I feel like they start just below the elbow and go down.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm actually kind of into that look. That's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
But the caster directly to the right there.
Ooh, what's up with that?
That's weird,
reminds
man.
Me of,
I like it, though.
Reminds me of Midna.
I like it, though.
Is that a chick or a dude?
I think that's a chick.
That's got to be a chick.
Given the stance, yeah, with the hips out to the side, I'm gonna say that's a chick.
There's not much.
But where's the
There,
boobs?
though. Yeah, like they took the slider all the way to the bottom.
The head
hashtag where's the boobs?
The headpiece is interesting, very tribal influenced on the whole thing. The skirt looks like it's like it's got some sort of feather work on it or something. And yeah, those are definitely heels on those feet pieces.
Very
there.
like Voodoo Witch Doctor Diablo 3-ish.
Yeah.
Now this next one is really cool.
So at first I was like, I don't know, but the more I look at it, the more I'm into it. The only thing that I'm not into is the headpiece.
The helmet, yeah.
The helmet I can kind of live without. The rest of it, though,
this is like Thor inspired, man.
It is Thor inspired, which is pretty cool. I've always sort of liked the scale armor that Square Enix has done, even going back to FF11. I liked some of the scale pieces of those. I'm thinking specifically of like the Zahox mail.
Yep.
This is a little bit reminiscent of that, and I really like the thing with the shoulder too, like the pauldron, and then with the covering. That's really kind of cool. I'm into it. So
I feel like it's the first real tanky sort of armor that doesn't feel inherently paladin.
Yes.
When it comes to paladin armor, dark knight armor, even warrior armor, I think that every single one of them tends to fall sort of in one of those general vicinities. Dark knight, very spiky, very dark, and chaotic looking. Paladins, that speaks for itself, and even warriors kind of have like this sort of primal tribalness to it. And this is the first one that is just sort of separate from all of those, but still says tank.
Yeah.
And Square Enix, please take this to heart, because this is really, really well. This is the type of stuff that we want out of armor. When you look at an armor set, you should be able to tell that's a fucking tank.
Yeah.
That is a fucking melee DPS.
Yeah.
Without it being like, oh, that could be Dark Knight armor. Like that could pass as AF or something.
That's the thing, is that whenever doing glamour for Dark Knight, I was like, okay, if I dye this black, it could kind of pass as Dark Knight armor, and it's like it has to be dyeable, and because it does, most everything seems like it's built for a sort of like paladin idea, and I'm into this. So let's talk about Cowboy here on the right.
It's noon.
There you go.
Just been waiting all episode for that. All episode.
Now, while it does look cool, I am actually the most disappointed with this one, because looking at the body piece, you can tell that it's actually just a reskin of a lot of body pieces already found in the game. Think to the Sky Pirate gear that you can get from the last patch for like ninjas and stuff like that. I mean, it has like the little packs on the side. It has like that long sort of half thing over on the leg or whatever. Even the hat. with
it just
Pharaoh Sirius Hard.
Yeah,
Didn't
yeah, yeah.
we get like a cowboy sort of thing through there? They had like the mask coming down in front of the eyes.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you could get pretty close to this outfit already.
Yeah.
I actually think that down below where it says new recipes have been added, the screenshot just below it, the sort of the hat that character is wearing is, I think, a little bit more distinct. It's higher. It's certainly like it's got a higher point to it on the top, and the brim
has more gallons in it.
Yeah,
It reminds me a lot of Irvine, but like casual.
I actually, between this and the snow coat, you could probably put together a pretty decent Irvine, whatever his name is.
Urban warfare.
But I mean, and then of course we already knew about these crafting sets. They're basically the Ironworks version for crafting. And they're okay. If I was a serious crafter, I think I'd probably be into the body piece there. That's not bad. I mean, but crafting gear I've never really been that into, except for the ones that sort of like harken back to old Final Fantasies. So
they've also added new materia melder NPCs at the Limsa lower decks, the Steps of Thal in Ul'dah, and Old Gridania, the Pillars in Idleshire. You must complete a side quest story called Forging the Spirit to meld materia with these NPCs. That will cost a fixed amount of gil, will not require catalysts, but these NPCs cannot perform advanced materia melding.
Apple Nectar in the chat saying FF12 fashion, please. As long as we don't have breastplates that have open necks.
You know what?
Because that just seems like a really poor design choice right there.
It sounds to me like she just wants to see 13-year-old boys with abs.
So this melder, remember Yoshi said this a while ago, and I think it might have been a slip-up. Remember he said that there was a place where people could actually meld their stuff, and we all couldn't remember.
Yeah. We're like, what the fuck are you talking about, Yoshi? I remember that.
Okay. So you think, he may have misremembered, and now it's, okay.
Yeah. Now it's in there.
Now you can.
Yoshi pulls.
They've changed the icon for the Mackay farthing. Okay. They've recast timing for high cordial has been reduced from 240 to 180.
That's good.
It's cool for crafters.
Gatherers.
Gatherers?
Cordials are for gathering. It restores what it...
they've also changed...
Yeah.
I believe.
They've also changed some important parameters for the Platinum Paramour's earrings, the Demon Brick earrings, and the Paramour's earrings. They now give 1 defense and magic defense. Previously, they gave nothing.
Great.
Help text has been added to the following hyperconductive anima weapons. All of them.
Yay.
Players can now stack ethereal wheels. I guess that's cool. And there's a bunch of stuff for the Calamity Salvager, which I don't think anybody really particularly cares about.
No, not really.
Check it out yourself if you think there is.
Bunch of stuff is now dyeable.
It's actually all replica stuff. Oh,
and
yeah,
the hyperconductive.
The hyperconductive. So we can now dye.
Can now dye your weapons.
We can now dye all of our weapons, which is cool. Versions of the Dreadworm gear can now be crafted and dyed, and that has been added. These materials will come from the Final Coil of Bahamut, which, when this came out, Juxta messaged everyone to make sure that we knew that he called that.
Yes, I did.
So
and
did
again,
everyone else.
I'll say the same thing that I said in the chat. Way to make the safest call in the world.
Is this easy mode?
I mean, when you
you guys are saying it was going to come out of like friggin' Palace of the Dead. I'm like,
we didn't say it was going to. They were wearing it down there, and we wondered if it might. And based on something that Yoshi has said in the Famitsu translation, it's still possible that we could get those out of there.
Yeah.
Well, probably the crafting materials, maybe.
Why not the full?
No,
Come on.
No, I think actually Juxta's right on that. It's probably just the crafting materials. That makes a lot. That makes a lot more sense.
Yoshi's not going to give us that.
If you get to the final room, I could see it dropping there.
Well, you want to encourage crafting of these, and you want to give crafters kind of the corner on that market. So I can't see the actual
getting these
items.
materials aren't hard. Like, they drop. It's just finding people to craft them.
Exactly. That's the you have the market right there. You just explained the intricacies of that market. Do you understand how disruptive it would be to have an output for that item directly instead of just an output for the hard?
Because the current replicas for the Allegon and the High Allegon for everything except Armorer is fine. The problem is that some specializations, there is no reason whatsoever to have them. For example, Armorer, the only thing they have now was the two recent replicas that were added. Like, the amount of time I've sat there looking at the board, waiting for something to go up, and it just doesn't. And you want to know why? How do you get a updated weapon? Like, let's say you start a new job, right?
Yeah.
How do you get an updated weapon?
Like,
what do you mean?
You go to the auction house, the highest weapon you can get isn't even item level 200. You have to get it through, like, lore or through ESOs, and even then it's pretty underdated. Like, the only fucking way to get weapons is through tomes. And you would think that because of armorers or weaponsmiths or whatever, that they would add, at this point, some type of craftable, like, catch-up weapon. That's
they might. I mean, we don't know all of the recipes that are being added. So it is, and of course, these are preliminary patch notes. They don't reveal everything in these patch notes. So it is possible that there might be an additional step of crafted weapons, because we do know that new recipes are being added.
Yeah. Because I mean, like, for example, to get your lore weapon, that takes 7 weeks.
But what I'm saying though is that yes, currently all of those items, those dyeable Bahamut items, are very expensive.
True.
And it seems to me like unless they're unreasonably expensive, or unless Square Enix thinks they're unreasonably expensive, they're not going to just give you a way to farm the item or get the item or subvert.
If they put it in the final room, I think that it's going to be so rare to get there and then get one of those drops that putting it there wouldn't cause as big of a disturbance as you think it is.
I think still having that, just the craft item drop out of there is enough. I don't think that having the full item seems a bit too disruptive to that market.
And even in your case, or your argument, Kyle, it doesn't matter, because the final coil weapons wouldn't be item level relevant anyway.
That's true too. They would
final
just
coil weapons?
What were you talking about?
I'm talking about the gear. Like, they've actually said that the weapons, there won't be replicas for those. The Dreadworm weapons won't have replicas.
At least not yet.
Yeah, it's just the gear. And honestly, the weapons are the only hard part. Getting the materials for the gear isn't that hard as long as you can clear it. Like, they drop consistently.
Right.
So, all right, here's a lot of big changes, which is actually going to play a big role in Palace of the Undead, but we'll get to that later. They've changed the recast time for a lot of items, such as Potion, High Potion, Mega Potion, and X Potion. They've basically reduced, it looks like, a lot of it by like 20 seconds. Potion and High Potions have a 25-second recast, Mega Potion 36, X Potion 48. Max Potion restores less HP, but you can recast it quicker. Elixirs, it's gone down. What they have increased is the maximum amount that they can. So restores up to 28% of HP for the Elixir, for example. Maximum of 1,440, previously 720. So there's a lot of those there.
It seems like a pretty big change to the way that Square Enix wants us to use potions.
Yes.
So I think that is a pretty important change. So it's kind of funny. I mentioned earlier that there's some weird weather in the area. I think the weather is mostly cleared, but for those that don't know, there's a race going on at the island across from me. So if you hear helicopters circling, they're getting footage for the race.
Right. It's not a drug buster.
No, it's not.
What is going on in our shower?
I don't know.
There are 3 chicks of varying races in the shower naked with fingers poking at them.
It's a good time, sounds like to me.
Your idea for the Skuro room has just became like a Wet and Wild room. That's all it is.
Which is fine. It's no longer the Skuro room.
I'm okay with all of this.
Yeah.
Little mandragores.
Can we at least take out the carpet that makes a squishy noise now?
That's the best part.
Hyperconductive animal weapon replicas can now be purchased from the restoration node in Oz's Law.
Which I think that is a definite sign. We're definitely getting a graphical upgrade.
Yes, they said we are getting a graphical upgrade. Yep. New items are available from Bertana and Idly Shire. What does Bertana normally have? Who's Bertana?
I don't know.
Nobody knows. Okay.
No idea.
That's not important.
Yeah, a lot of. We're getting down to the end of.
All right, this is kind of cool just because now you can get some orchestrion rolls quicker. But the number of amber encased vialkin required by the amber trader for a bunch of items has been adjusted. Most of the gear you only need 1 now instead of 5, and the tenacity orchestrion roll takes 3 instead of 5, and when a tree falls takes 6 instead of 10. So I can actually buy that last one on Tuesday. Upon creating a character, players will now start with equipment in their neck, ears, wrist, and right ring slots. So that's cool, and you can purchase that equipment from the following NPCs, the usual. They've added a bunch of new items as rewards for exploratory voyages, but they do not, of course, list them, so hopefully they are cool things. And they've made a bunch of recipes for quick synthesis, which I assume, these are all things we've had before, so you just couldn't quick synth.
Correct.
And now you can. And the following items had the crafting requirements lowered from 850 to 810. Sweet gnome fish, camphorwood lumber, high mithrite nugget, sewing needle griffin leather, straps, sewing needle powdered horn, and the galvanized garland steel, which I think is all items that are used for obviously the really, really high level stuff. Mm-hmm. So that is sure to make a bunch of crafters happy and a bunch of assholes unhappy. The special recipe section of the crafting log has been adjusted. They've added Moogle quests and Heaven's Ward 2.
Okay.
Cordials can now be crafted, and it's possible to make high-quality ones. I suppose that's probably cool.
I know the gatherers had been asking for changes to cordials for a while.
Because you only can get them from either quests or the grand companies.
Yeah.
Pain in the ass.
They were a pain in the ass, and they didn't restore enough at beyond 50. It almost became like kind of like a nuisance because you would still have downtime. Like regardless, you would still have downtime, and so it was just easier at that point to let your gauge refill.
Yeah, they're also increasing the number of blue scripts that you get from certain turn-ins. Collectibles for Disciples of the Land have been adjusted, and new items can be ethereally reduced. And the required collectability for the following items have been decreased from 530 to 515. And Miner and Botanist, I assume, again, it's all like the high level or high tier stuff.
Right.
This is all crafting stuff.
It really is. There's just a lot. There's a lot of.
Can we skip all this stuff?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Please. Let's do.
Skipping. There we go. New chocobo barding has been added.
You missed the big fishing.
Shut up.
Nobody cares.
Nidhogg barding.
It looks dumb.
Really? I think it kind of looks cool.
I think it looks cool, especially the head. I am most looking forward to being able to mix this with other barding.
I actually think that the color palette on it and the color pattern is really cool because you don't really ever get to see Nidhogg lit really well. Like you know, he's
really dark.
Yeah, he's very dark and he's causing a whole bunch of chaos and destruction. And you don't really get to appreciate what his patterning is. I think that's
another wyvern for dragoons.
Yeah.
They've also added new mounts. There's the Mooglepoff, which I'm gonna go rub that on my benefactor's face now because I was right. And look at that bird.
It's a bird.
That bird.
Come on, that bird's pretty awesome.
Whatever. I'm not that into the birds.
It's a purple bird.
New minions have been added. A little Ramu with his little beard and mustache.
And a little Shiva.
And little Shiva with, look at that resting bitch face.
Yeah.
She gives no fucks.
No fucks have been given. Players can now automatically equip optimized gear from their armory chest by using the recommend gear button. I'm sure that's going to work out real well.
Actually, well, when I'm on consoles and I fuck up my gear, that's actually going to be kind of useful.
It says it's going to be based on the attributes of their job, so you shouldn't be equipping like strength gear on your white mage or whatever.
Okay, well that does make sense. So if you want different allocations, then it's something that you're going to have to pay attention to. But at the same time, it's not like I walk around with a whole bunch of like competing 220 gear. You know what I mean? Like it'll automatically just go to the highest eye level, which will be what I want it to do. Makes sense.
Yep. So they've added a bunch of new achievements. My favorite one is Let Me Be Your Hog, which is defeating Nidhogg in the Minstrel's Ballad, Nidhogg's Rage. The following duties count towards high-level party duty achievements, and that's basically all the extreme primals. Did they not before?
I guess not.
Oh,
huh.
Okay.
Interesting.
Oh, this is cool. You can now change your mentor icon based on what you're a mentor of. It's one with a little sword, a little hammer, and a little flag, and then obviously the usual one, which is just the crown.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, mentor, PvE, trade, and PvP.
I don't know why they've marked the zone lines more clearly.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a thing.
Okay.
Well, actually, there's an interesting thing in this map, though.
What?
Is that northern exit is currently blocked off right now.
Is that right?
Yes, it is.
And this is Old Gridania.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There is a guard out there that says only distinguished Gridanians can be here. No place for commoners like yourself or whatever.
Fuck that guy.
And it's like not at any point used as a zone line for like Gridania quests or.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Weird.
Unless it's like level 5 and I haven't done it before.
So this is a pretty big change that waymarks will now appear on the minimap, which that's
so good.
That's a great QOL right there. And also partial match function has been added to Market Board.
But you actually have to check for it.
That's good.
Idle camera changes.
Yay.
A switching feature has been added. The feature will detect and switch to a subject using an action within the camera angle perimeter.
This is going to make being in studio for LBR way more fun.
This can only be activated for players in combat.
God damn it, Square
There's a
Enix.
chance that the idling camera will follow the subject using an action. Selected camera pattern will be adjusted when the subject is in combat, and idling camera can now be used while in combat.
What? Why? Square Enix, why?
These would be such good normal changes.
All they have to do is make it so that you can adjust that parameter, like how far it reaches.
Yeah.
Characters who meet the following conditions cannot be included in a group pose, even if they are not party members. Friends, free company members.
Who cares?
Players in different areas.
Who
blah, blah,
gives
blah,
a shit?
blah. Some changes have been made to the journal, the character window. Blah blah blah. You can now save HUD layouts.
This is big. That's going to be a big one.
Up to 4 different variations. Of your HUD layout.
That's going to be a big one. I like that. And it seems like you'll be able to change between them fairly easily.
Here's another really cool one, which had they not showed examples, I might not have cared, but players can now choose the following settings. High quality scenery and lighting in the game will be displayed in an optimized quality.
That's for PS4 users.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is well.
Do I already have that then?
Yeah, you already have it.
Oh, I don't give a fuck.
That was included in your DirectX update.
All right, I'm back to not giving a fuck. And now players can customize the party list display according to the job. Now, didn't we figure out like last time that you could apparently already do this or something? Or Nika said you could?
I don't remember.
Nika's dumb.
She said it, but I don't believe you can do that.
I don't think you can either. But whatever.
I don't know. Is there anything else? All the rest of this looks pretty lame.
Yeah, there's a lot of new text commands, including text commands for changing your HUD layout, which makes me think that that's going to be a whole lot,
hold on. They've added new auto translates.
Oh,
let's see.
There's no good ones.
No.
There isn't.
Oh.
Nope.
Darn.
There's keep it busy.
Oh, nice. That's all right.
Yeah.
Avoid the attack. Should we find some replacements? That's for Skuro.
Weeping City of my cock.
Take them down at the same time.
I was kind of upset that there wasn't a noon in the time. That way we could have done high noon.
Donut.
Wait, what?
There's donut.
Why is donut in there?
Who cares?
For AoEs that hit everywhere around you, but not the center.
Oh, fair enough.
So, and then I think the final thing of note.
Original fat chocobo.
That is a thing.
We don't want the cheap,
not the new one.
Cheap replacements.
Not the new one.
Are you an OFC?
The following adjustments have been made to the free trial version of the game. The level cap has been raised from 20 to 35, and the maximum amount of guild players can carry has been increased from 100K to 300K. So that's cool. If you've been on the fence about wanting to try FF14. This gives you even more content to chew through. I mean, 15 levels is pretty significant. That's going to unlock a bunch more MSQ.
Could be a job.
Yeah, exactly. So I would definitely, if you aren't already playing FF14, take advantage of that nice little change there to the free trial duration. And that takes care of the patch 3.3 preliminary notes. If you'd like to call Limit Break Radio, give us a call. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715 or limitbreakradio.com/Discord. We'd love to hear from you about any of your thoughts about 3.3. What are you most hyped for? What were you most surprised by in the 3.3 patch notes? Now, this isn't our only piece of news. We've also got this translated Famitsu article, which was done so skillfully by the one, the only Slicer over at Blue Garter. Slicer is really awesome about providing these Famitsu translations, and you can find that, of course, at bluegarter.com in their forums, in the FF14 official news and information section. We'll, of course, have a link to this at our website, limitbreakradio.com, and Kookie providing a link in the chat that you can hit if you're listening live on twitch.tv. So let's go through some of the more interesting points from this Famitsu translation, from this Famitsu interview. And because there was definitely, I think that there's more interesting points in here than there was in the 3.3 notes.
Definitely. The other night I basically went through here and pulled out all of the pertinent information that I thought would be interesting. And the first thing they started off with was apparently Yoshida has been wanting to use the word revenge in a patch title for North America for some time now, right? Because in the Japanese version, it's called The Last Roar or something like that.
Right.
And, so we brought it up to Koji. He's like, find a way to use the word revenge. And Koji was really hesitant about it for some reason. I think it was that it was too cliche and everyone sort of does it. And Yoshi's response was, yeah, even Star Wars has done it.
I think that's less of a reason to do it, right?
And basically, he told him, just make it work. And that was that. Yeah.
Okay.
The Yoshida has spoken.
Pretty much. The number of MSQs in 3.3, as we noted earlier, is smaller, but the length of the cutscenes and the voice acting is longer. There will also be a number of quests available afterwards to help us reflect on the Dragonsong War. So similarly to how at the end of 2.0, it was like, hey, you were about to enter the bed chambers of the
Sultana.
Of the Sultana.
Shameful.
Make sure that you have ample time to view all these cutscenes.
Right.
He said it's going to be the same sort of thing, so make sure that in the final one you have set some time aside.
I think that's good, and I hope that they're not blowing their narrative wad right now, because I would still like, as we get towards like 3.5 and as we wrap up Heavensward as an expansion, not just in a narrative sense, but as an expansion, that there is as much to look forward to. Although it might be an interesting change, because they did talk about, and I'm especially excited to talk about the Diadem changes that they talked about, but they did say that that's going to be adjusted in 3.4, and I think it would be interesting to see them take a step back from the narrative and focus on the play, focus on the content. If we have that down, then I think a lot of people will play through the lull between 3.5 and 4.0. It would be a completely different approach, because we were hanging on by a narrative thread, but all of us were like, it's so hard to keep playing this game between between 2.5 and 3.0. And I think if they take a different approach and they double down more on the content and the gameplay, that will keep people more engaged in between that time.
Well, I wouldn't hold your breath, because later in the article they do say that just because this is the end of the Dragonsong War, this is not the end of Ishgard's story.
Right.
Yep. The interviewer said that when Estinian killed Nidhogg, spoiler, he took his eye. That might have been a mistake, to which Yoshida replies, in the end, your interpretation might change.
Interesting.
So maybe taking the eye wasn't a mistake or something?
So didn't you guys theorycraft that Estinian was the plant to actually kill Nidhogg by subconsciously doing it?
That was a theory that I had come up with based on Emmerich's reaction to seeing Estinian in the last set of cutscenes where they appears at the Peace Summit. So, yeah, and this is that was the quote that made me think, okay, well. And maybe it's just because it's preceding the quote where they say, we'll have quests available afterwards to help us reflect on the Dragonsong War. I think it would be interesting in terms of a revelation to find out after the conclusion of the battle and the struggle against Nidhogg that the motivations driving Estinian and Nidhogg were not what we thought they were as players. And I think that would be a good narrative device for us to be reinvested in that story. Like, oh my God, there was something else we could have done maybe. We just had the wool pulled over our eyes this entire time. I think that would be way more powerful than, everything is as it seems. And I think that this quote kind of speaks to that possibility. Maybe. It also says the bridge battle scene is a lot longer and you can't predict what will happen based on what little is shown in the trailer. Okay.
I predict that a tower is going to fall and break the bridge. Because that's what happened in the trailer.
Half of the Scions are involved with the Warring Triad story, and more will become involved as we move on. So I think that that's a pretty good indication that the Warring Triad is going to lead us into wherever Paplimo and Yida is, and they will also join in on it. Because really the only Scions that aren't involved at this time are pretty much those two, right?
Yida and Paplimo.
Yeah.
Urianger is not.
Urianger is still a wild card.
Urianger, what the fuck is that guy doing nowadays?
We don't know. I mean, the last time
consorting with Asians.
When was the last time
Asian hole?
When was the last time we caught up with him? It was at the end of 2.55, wasn't it?
No, we've seen him.
We've seen him since
then,
briefly,
but
though.
yeah,
only very
I
briefly.
can't remember what was going on.
Okay.
It says we will learn more about Regulus Van Hydra's plans going forward.
Hail Van Hydra.
Unukel Hai, the kid in the white mask, will still be with us, and a small hint as to his identity will be dropped.
Okay, that's cool. I'm excited for that.
Hint. I want a big hint.
Yep. Yoshi also said he was very, very happy with how Sephiroth EX tuning and difficulty came out. He is aiming for similar results with Nidhogg Extreme, and it will also reward weapons as well. He did say, though, that it's hard to describe the Nidhogg fight. Sephiroth, they kept saying was Titan-esque, but he said Nidhogg is its own thing. The interview asked questions about whether you could fall or not, and Yoshi made a joke about maybe from now on fight should just be described as whether or not you can fall.
Yeah.
I think that this is a pretty interesting idea. I think that the community's reception for Sephiroth EX was very, very high. A lot of people were very, very happy with how that fight was tuned, and it's nice to hear that they're taking that as a lesson and applying it moving forward, but that also Nidhogg is very much its own sort of thing. I kind of like that idea. Lore
weapon upgrades will eventually come from the Weeping City of Yorkok.
Yep.
He also admits that Void Arc was very easy and monotonous, and their aim for Weeping City is to use the entire arena and give each party roles in the alliance.
I think we've seen that in those pictures, right?
Well, we've seen it in the trailer for sure.
They had that big room, and they had those three different areas.
We even kind of got that a little bit back in World of Darkness when we fought the Hydra. Remember when you first went in, people would always assign A, B, and C to specific things. But he uses an example. He says, when the first boss drops a nest during the battle, all of the adventurers need to go on top of that nest. But Alliance A in particular, for example, will need to do another action. For the second boss, the role of the individual players in the Alliance rather than the Alliance units will be more importance.
Interesting.
On the other hand, with Ozma, the sphere, you can see that fight looks quite different from anything before.
That is also true.
There are other mechanics not shown in the trailer footage, so please stay tuned. For Califrestri, which appeared last, previously Echidna had you move along diagonals into the center. So we thought about how this impacted players other than tanks, and you'll have to pay more attention to the boss this time.
Interesting.
They also said that they make the third boss the most flashy, so if you can defeat that, you should be okay in the final one. And thinking back to it, Behemoth was usually more of a hurdle than anything else.
Yes.
Same with Amon, Hydra, and Nika.
LOL.
Lore armor upgrades will be available upon launch. Lore weapon upgrades, however, will be added later as we progress. It also said that, and this is in regards to Reish Vel Ghul, Dragons cannot settle their grudge with humans in one human lifespan. Sorkai is Race Valgurul's opportunity to settle his rage with humans, and it should also be noted that Sorkai is the former home of Ratatoska.
I really feel like this is...
It's just going to be something lame.
It is, man. Like, okay, settle your rage with the humans in a, kind of combat.
Glorious combat!
Yeah, like, we know that we're not actually killing Race Valgur at the end of this thing. We know that.
Maybe you're not. I'm gonna.
You know what I mean? Like, are you
going to be blown away if we actually do? Like, if at the end he's like,
we're not.
The only way that you can defeat Nidhogg...
There's no way.
Is by killing all the dragons?
Take my eyes.
There's no way.
Murder all the dragons.
Based on demands, the Hullbreaker Tiger may become a mount, but they're not sure how to make it fly yet.
Oh my gosh.
Don't make it.
Not every mount has to fly. Just stop.
It would be a cool mount, though. It would be a cool mount. That would be legit.
But only if it could fly.
Aquapolis monsters, they say, aren't very hard. They can easily be defeated with a party of 8, and there's maybe 5 minutes worth of combat with a light party. There aren't very many mechanics.
That is kind of disappointing to hear.
Yeah, I think the whole point of the Aquapolis really just comes down to the RNG element.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, like you're in our last discussion about whether or not the final coil items would be available out of the Aquapolis. I think that statement is really indicative of the fact that if they put it in as the item into the Aquapolis, the output would be way too high and would just fuck that market up. I could see them having the items in the potential loot pool.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Not if you got to the end, you automatically got one.
The crafting items, though, not the full item.
I still think the full one would be fine.
What?
Because
you really think that there needs to be an output other than crafting?
Well, that there needs to be? No, probably not. But Juxta, last time we talked about the Aquapolis, you broke down what the odds of getting to the end would be, with it being a 50-50 shot every time you go through a door, right? What was it? It was like
1 in 64?
1 in 64, and you only get a path into it like every 2 treasure maps. So now you're looking at getting there 1 in 128 times.
Yep,
and just because it says that the mobs are easy, there's obviously still going to be people that fuck it up, right?
No.
So
come on.
The odds of getting there is 1 in 64. And then what if, the loot pool is, there's 50 items. 1 in 50 chance of getting a piece of Dreadworm gear every... Like, I feel like it becomes astronomical.
I don't know, man. I feel like you almost accomplish the exact same thing by just making the craftable items drop out of there, because it's another output of the actual item. You don't have to go to coil. It would probably create the burden on. Can you sell those items, like the
crafting?
Yeah, the craft. Okay, so yeah, it would bring the burden on that end of the market down, but it would not fuck up the market for those crafters, because the crafters, the armorers right now who are able to make those, dude, they're making a fucking mint on the shit.
Because they don't exist.
No, they do. I mean, well...
Maybe at this point they do, but I basically had to farm all of my materials, and then actually finding an armorer to make them was next to impossible.
It's tough, but I mean, that I think is the incentive right there. Instead of, like, I don't know, I think at this point, if I did a craft to 60, I would probably do my specialization in armor craft, because I would actually use those. I would use those pieces of glamour way more than I would use like whatever the fuck I'm going to be using.
Well, yeah, but
crafting for.
You would be using your crafting for personal use rather than making money. And when it comes to making money, no one's selling the armor.
Well, it's not that effective.
That's true, but you can make more stuff that people are buying.
That is true.
As all the other ones.
That is true.
Yoshida, of course.
But it's a corner on the market, though. If you have less competition, that's also a consideration too.
Yeah, but how many people are going to buy like a 15 mil body piece? I mean,
does it have to be 15 mil?
I don't know.
If you want to make more money on one piece than you would on, say, 5 pieces,
then kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you're making a markup, I mean, you could come in and take over the market. Like, if there's 1 or 2 people crafting that shit right now, you could be a destabilizing force.
Well, Yoshi refuses to say much about what drops because it might affect the economy. Moogle Quest says you've entered into a contract with the dragons to rebuild the palace, and Tier 5 crafting materia will be set as the rewards.
Okay.
Tons of new information about the animal weapon. Alagon tomestones will be necessary for its growth, but it will not grow with those alone. It says this stage is being compared to the Alexandrite stage. When you turn in items to grow a parameter, it goes up by 3, but randomly can go up by 5, and it's not said whether or not this value is specifically related to a stat.
But I think when going back and breaking down the screenshot, I don't think it's going to be a stat. I think it's just going to be...
It's not like when we say it goes up by 3 that your skill speed is going up by 3.
Right. But
your
maybe
bar.
your
But maybe
bar,
not.
your bar in that. So I mean, like, the thing is that if you're picking out 2 stats to assign there, then it really, like, if you're getting 3 or 5, like, it's really all to your benefit. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like someone will raise a stat by mistakenly 5 and go, oh no, you know, like, I think that's how you avoid that scenario. So
some items you need will be tradable. Completed weapons will have new graphics.
Yay.
Raid finders intended for the most difficult of the raiding, aka Midas Savage. We talked about that already. They're trying to put Bard's firepower in closer proximity to Machinist. We talked about the AoE DPS increase for Ninja. Astrologer barriers being increased. They said that they want astrologers to coexist better with white mages. Currently, the Scholar Fairies are very strong. Healers won't have to worry about accuracy in dungeons, but they still want them to have a focus on accuracy if they want to hit in raids, because it's supposed to be the most difficult of content. Interviewer notes that this is a specific note from the interviewer. He said that though the DPS checks in Midas Savage seem more relaxed compared to Gordius, the pace of mechanics are not.
I think that's probably fair.
Yep. Next, Alexander is already in production. Diadem changes coming in 3.4.
Here we go.
Mm-hmm. Now, the Diadem one specifically, they said they're working on a new matchmaking system, and I believe that it actually talked about being able to put, like, gatherers in their own parties, so I think they cracked finally about the whole separating warriors of... or the Disciples of War and Magic from the hand or Gatherer in Hand. Yeah,
I think it was becoming a pretty serious problem, especially as more and more people left the Diadem and only Gatherers were going in there.
Yep. Content will change completely with the addition of new exploration. It will be a tightly driven system, or it will be tightly driven system side, and have a new direction that will focus on making it feel like you're exploring.
This is super exciting. I think that this is what Diadem has needed from the beginning. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have that element of exploration, and the only time that it does is when you first get in there and you're getting Aether Currents.
Yep.
That's it. And to have them say that they're doing a complete redesign on it, I think is incredibly exciting.
Yep. Yoshi even said when he made this system, he wanted it for people to actually explore it. So
right.
Sounds like they're finally getting
back
to
he
that.
says, as an example, you may come to an area with an order like Retrieve the Goods, so you'll have to actually go around the area instead of just staying in one spot in...
Good.
Pretending like you're in a fate spawn, basically.
I think that's great. I mean, you're varying up the goals and objectives. That's what we have been saying has been the monotonous part, is that everyone just gets flying and automatically goes to Dino Island. The more that you can break that up with specific goals and even punishments if those goals aren't reached within a specific amount of time, that's ways to affect the playstyle right there.
Yep. There's a few more quotes here. It says, "We've gone through all of the feedback we received from everyone, and as a result, we've decided to take a hard turn and really focus on establishing the content based on a sense of exploration. We're putting a lot of effort into the production. Even for selecting goals, rather than leaving it up to players to discuss, we'll be more clearly presenting the goals as part of the content. The basic play elements will still be to search and clear the area. Separate from that, we're also considering a full area raid idea."
Okay, now there's 2 really important statements in here. So, making clearly presenting the goals as part of the content. That, to me, says that my hope for this, at least, is that it's not going to be the same every time and that the objectives are going to be dynamic. If you're going in there and just doing the same shit every time, that gets monotonous, even if it is objective. So as long as there's some dynamics on that and some RNG in terms of the activities that you're going in there and you have to do within the time limit, I think that that's a great thing. There were before with Diadem, there were optional things that if you wanted the lore out of it, or if you wanted the tones,
you had to do like two or three things.
You had to do that.
Big deal.
But I think I like the idea, and it's not mentioned here, but I like the idea of potential punishments coming along for not doing it,
or buffs that way.
And yes, so it there's actually an incentive to doing these things.
Like, how cool would it be is if you finish all of the objectives by the end, you straight up get a chest that gives you like a full treasure pool of random ass gear.
That would be I think that's a great.
The whole full area raid idea.
This is the second part of it.
Two things to me. I think of back to like what Sky or Sea was in FF11 as a full raid area, which this could easily be. And it also reminds me of things like Uldwa or Zul-Aman. No, ZG, Zul'Gurub from WoW, where basically you can go in and it's a raid, but it's not linear, and you can choose which bosses you go to first, or in what order you go to them, or even skip bosses. Or not do them if you want.
I kind of like that idea, but the thing that Diadem was founded on, where you have they're a little bit like Abyssia Lights, where you build those up, and that's what generates the ability to spawn the next mob.
But you
and
get
then
to
there's RNG.
Choose what you. In a certain way, like if you don't want to get the Brachiosaurus, stay away from this area or these monsters.
And I think that's something that's a bit of nuance that the Diadem system was missing, because you could get almost any spawn in any area, and it really felt like it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And so Dino Island became the de facto place to go to, because it was the easiest terrain to navigate, and it had the easiest relative mobs. But now, if you've got regions and specific bosses that you're hunting in specific regions, it gives a much more of an incentivized reason to be visiting other areas and to move, maybe as a pack, maybe as a single party, or maybe as an alliance. I like this.
The only thing they don't mention, which I think is what a lot of this hinges on, is how are the rewards going to be determined out? Because if it's still completely random, you're just going to maybe focus on whatever the easier content is, right? Like if you still actually in a way have a choice of like what bosses or monsters you go to.
Sure.
If it's completely random, you're always going to go for the...
That's why the rewards cannot be RNG anymore. If they go for a system like that, then the rewards have got to be static.
Can be RNG.
The stats can... Well, I don't know. But the gear has to be static in a way where there's a clear incentive to take on a harder mob than... Or
body drops from these ones.
Yes.
Legs drop from these ones.
That's a way you could do it.
Yeah.
That's a great way you could do it. If it's designated by gear slot, then if you want a headpiece, you got to go fight the really hard guy.
Genbu.
Whatever. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because his shell's like a helmet.
I like that idea.
Yeah. All right, so they go on to say, because of the item level increase that we'll be seeing in 3.4, we may not see this Diadem change until 3.45 or even 3.5.
That sort of makes sense given where the Diadem gear fell in the last gear progression, because they're trying to make it a side grade. And so if they're responding to where gear allocations or stat allocations are currently sitting, that makes a whole lot of sense to me. That has been the first justification of a piece of content being pushed off to a 0.5 patch where I've gone, okay, that's fair.
Yep. Definitely. And I was going to say something else, but I forgot, so don't worry about it. Deep Dungeon. They say it will be different from the traditional image of 1 tank, 1 healer, and 2 DPS. You can do Deep Dungeon with 4 DPS if you wish. Natural recovery can occur. Now, this is where he said that there's a bunch of different items you're going to be wanting to use in there. He said that there are a number of items that can only be used in Deep Dungeon. For example, one reveals all the masked areas of the map, and another transforms the adventurer into a manticore, which we saw in the video, that can beat all the enemies with 1 punch. Since you become so strong, you want to rush through the area, but you'll have to take care not to step on a landmine, which could cause a catastrophe.
Interesting. Again, this is some really different gameplay than we've seen out of anything before. We've also seen a couple of screenshots associated with Deep Dungeon, and in terms of the HUD that they're going to be adding with
really
Deep Dungeon,
cool looking.
This is you can tell this is a system sort of unto itself. They've really taken the time to make it its own thing. And again, we're back, I think Square Enix is listening. We're starting to see dynamics being built into the systems that are being added into this game, and I think that is so to this game's benefit, and it'll just make content always interesting. It won't be the same thing, because I hate when I go into a dungeon and after the first boss, I'm nodding off because I've been worked into the same fucking pattern again and again, and it's not even like I'm tired, but I find I
100% get it, man.
I've talked about this before. Yeah. It's almost hypnotic the way that it happens, and you find yourself nodding off, and it's hard to stay engaged with that kind of content. The dynamics help. I feel like RNG has not really been applied in the ways that it could most benefit
in
FF14.
exciting ways.
Yeah,
right.
But these are ways where it seems like it could.
Yep. They said currently floor 50 is the deepest, but that's just the tip. They plan on adding up to 200 later. As they add more to the Palace of the Dead, we will learn more about it. Now, that coupled with the theory that wedding dress might be Ida,
yeah,
I hope that there's a story element to this. I really fucking do.
It sounds like they intend for there to be.
Yeah. As you open treasure chests, your armor will be strengthened. Also, potions use is encouraged since its recovery amount cooldown will be improved as well. They said bring Phoenix Downs if you plan to bring 4 DPS. I mean, honestly, you should probably bring Phoenix Downs, and the way that they've talked about recovery use and the fact that we've seen all those changes to a lot of the recovery items, I think they're going to start playing a bigger and more important role in the Palace of the Dead.
Right. And now this is, I think, one of the most interesting things, because we've gone back and forth on this based on the way that they've done Diadem adjustments since it was implemented, but they have been very clear. Palace of the Dead updates are planned for 3.45 and 3.5.
Or 3.5.
Or 3.5. But the fact that we're getting another Deep Dungeon update, I mean, we've sat here and called Square Enix out on not adjusting the Diadem.
Right, because we're getting it at 3.35, then we're going to almost immediately get another update. I see what you're saying now.
Right, and we've thrown that accusation around that they say that they're going to keep updating these systems. Well, I mean, this article is pretty clear that they intend to keep updating Diadem. They've got some serious changes planned for that, and they have laid out a timetable for Palace of the Dead. Just the tip. Thanks, Scape Dev.
You know what I've just realized, right? All right, so the fact that we're getting a Deep Dungeon update right at the tail end of the expansion, right?
Okay.
The way that this talks, especially if there's 200 floors, like going from 50, then tripling that, right? Going into the wait between expansions, that's something that's going to keep us going. You want to know what else Deep Dungeon is? The fact that they talk about how the gear in Deep Dungeon isn't going to play a role outside of Deep Dungeon, this is our horizontal gear progression. They can still keep vertical gear progression when you're going through MSQ in the narrative, but within Deep Dungeon,
you get progression.
There's your horizontal progression. There's something that's going to hold you over between long patch lulls.
That's an interesting concept. I mean, if they execute it that way, it could...
Yeah, I mean, think about PvP. PvP and PvE are distinctly separate systems, right?
That's right,
You don't
yes.
worry about your progress through PvE in relation to PvP. So why can't... Like, what's really stopping someone from having 2 PvE systems that are separated from each other?
I think the only concern there is that people still want the rewards to be taken out of Deep Dungeon and still be relevant.
In a certain extent, obviously glamour is going to take you out of that. I mean, they could, I guess, potentially as you're going through, a new update comes. Now you can maybe get tome upgrade items. I mean, they could still find some ways to put little incentives in there to help you outside of it. But at the same time, yeah, this could just be another game mode.
I think it is.
And even better, if people tend to gravitate towards this,
right,
going on in a later expansion, it might be easier to then transition this as the primary game mode.
Well, I think the concern here is that if you have an isolated game mode with two different PvE environments, that then the rewards won't end up crossing over, and only those people, much like PvP, it becomes a very isolated event with only those people who are really invested in the system that are participating. And Square Enix has showed that they don't want that. There was a lot of that in FF11. You had a lot of gating, whether it be through missions and accessible areas, or whether it be through through the rewards and interest driven in that department. But people were fractured among multiple places in that game. But the fact of the matter is that at the end of the day, all of those rewards were as applicable outside of their own events as they were inside of it. And that's going to be the key to keep interest driven in this, is if that people can take the rewards outside of Deep Dungeon and they're still relevant.
I think that this theory is also supported by the fact that if we have a narrative in the Palace of the Dead, that's also going to help push people to want to progress and participate in that content.
Depending on what that narrative is.
If it has Ida, I think that's going to draw a lot of people in. As we've stated before,
undoubtedly,
that's one of the better ones. Yep.
How hard do you think this Deep Dungeon is going to be?
I don't think that the difficulty is as much of a question as it is how often can you enter or progress through the floors.
Well, has there been any content besides raid content where you couldn't do it as much as you wanted to initially?
No,
unless they arbitrarily
unless they lock you out of the rewards, then it seems like a pointless. Like you can do Void Arc multiple times a week, but why would you?
Right. Not really, unless you want to take a look at something like Leave Quest allowances. But other than that, not really.
I mean, but the question is, if it's just glamour, glowy weapons, and whatever kind of armor they put in there, is that enough to get the job done to keep people there and interested in grinding shit out of it? I don't know that it is. The system, if the system is good on its face and people have fun with the system, then maybe. But the rewards have to be there as well. We saw that with Diadem. Diadem was an unfun system that people didn't like, but they did it until
strictly because of rewards.
They got the gear jackpot, or we moved on. Once we progressed, I mean, nobody's in there now.
I think that if this system is fun on its face, it has a narrative that is actually fun and inspiring, cough, Alexander, cough, that I think that will be enough to get people into it. And 50 floors compared to 200, that's actually kind of small, right? Who knows how quickly we'll progress through them. But if it's a hit with people, then I think so long as they can keep that up, that putting in stuff like glamour, putting in mounts, minions, titles.
But again, we see this with PvP too. Like people are incentivized to participate in PvP when they can get tomes out of it.
But
when they
again,
can get
PvP just comes down to being the act of, right? There's
the rewards too. I mean, there's armor.
There's no kind of there's one armor, one set per class, and it's ugly usually.
Yeah.
But there's no actual sense of real progression in PvP. You as a level 50 Maelstrom person isn't much different for me as like a level 5 Ulda person.
Okay.
I mean, even now, it's not even the gear. The gear isn't even locked by rank anymore. So now all that does is make some of your abilities a little bit better.
Right. Yeah, your PvP ability.
But if you actually feel like you're going into the Palace of the Dead and you're actually progressing through it.
But this is what I'm saying though. Like, how many people are participating in PvP once the lore output or the queue times just become unbearable? It's way less than participate in PvE events, and why would you want to fracture your audience even more? You want events like this to be inclusive of the overworld in the PvE environment. Even if that's not the best gear, you want it to be at least semi-relevant, don't you?
Well, this is because the only reason that I would do PvP is because of the glamour and the lore. So you're right. After lore dries up, or I don't need lore for the rest of the week, wouldn't need it.
Right.
But this, I would at least want to get to floor 50, because if it's something they're going to continually expand on, once you stop doing it, you are exponentially missing out on more content.
That is true.
If you decide to stop doing Seal Rock, that's fine. Because when Shatter comes out, that's all you have to do.
Okay, all right. That's a compelling point. I hadn't considered that.
You're climbing a ladder.
Continued participation in the event as it continues to progress. That's okay. All right, I can get behind that. That is a clearly outlined incentive. I do still think that the rewards need to be somewhat relevant beyond glamour.
And hopefully they will. I mean, just because our armor from outside doesn't go inside, or vice versa, they could still introduce some kind of token system akin to Einherjar, where just being in there and progressing gives you some type of currency that you can use to buy things that do work outside of it. Or hell, even just giving it tomes.
Right.
So there's an interesting way to do tomes.
But tomes,
I know
that's
it's
so tired.
lame and boring. I know.
I would rather see no tomes come out of this and relevant, like item rewards, as opposed to having a tome element.
I'm sure that there will be ammo weapon item output in some
probably.
way.
By the way, if you'd like to call the show, we'd love to hear what your thoughts are. What do you expect for Deep Dungeon? Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord if you'd like to call in on Discord. We'd be very interested in hearing all from you about any of these proposed changes. Again, I think that this Famitsu article is the most interesting thing out of here. We get confirmation of Diadem adjustments that are going to be coming up, and we get a doubling down from a development point of view on the Deep Dungeon and a bit of a roadmap of what we can expect out of the content in the future. And I think that that's fantastic. I would love to see. I would love to see interviews like this take place with U.S. media, although, again, as I identified at the beginning of the show, I think that a language barrier prevents that, and that's why these translations are such a critical, important thing in this community. And so, again, we want to send a huge shout-out to Slicer from Blue Garter and all of the Blue Garter, including Ragans and Sonoma. You guys are fucking awesome. Thank you for letting us basically just steal your content. So
I think of Sonoma whenever I see the trucks.
What?
There's like
Sonoma truck.
Sonoma trucks. Yeah, there's a truck. It says Sonoma right on the back. And every time I'm in traffic, I'm like, motherfucker.
So if you want to check it out, of course, we will have a link to that in the chat room. Kooky has provided a link to that many times, but we'll also have a link to it at our website, limitbreakradio.com. Again, if you want to call the show, Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord if you'd like to call in on Discord. All right, let's read some emails.
This first one comes from Clockwork Heart of Malboro. They say, hey, LBR, checking in. I stopped playing seriously about 2 or 3 months ago. My raid group has died, and I'm only logging on to cap on lore and do my scratchers. I also haven't listened to LBR since...
Scratchers. I like that. That's a good way to refer to them.
I got 2 10Ks this morning.
10 gays?
10 gays.
10 gays?
Twice. That's 20 gays.
Wow.
2 10Ks, which were 16K because of the all the buffs that are going on. And of course, Jux is sitting and goes, oh, I must be good luck for you. And then the last one was 161. I was about to get a fucking hat trick, and you ruined it, you piece of shit.
You're welcome.
Haven't listened to LBR since February or March, but tuned in for episode... What the fuck's on my mic? 64 today.
That is probably cat hair. I'm almost going to guarantee you that's cat hair.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, on the topic of raiding, from my point of view anyway, I try to convince people to raid for the exact reason I try to convince people to play the Souls games. It's repetitive and hard, and you hate it for a bit, but then something changes and you get better. Suddenly, little things like slight upgrades in gear become more important to you. Strategies are critical. Mm-hmm. Doing research before raids become a must. You get into it somehow, and when you finally beat whatever it is you were face bashing for weeks or months, it feels absolutely amazing. And it's not just you experiencing it. You have your raid mates, your free company, your link shell, or or if you're lucky, your friends IRL all screaming praise over comms. I try to convince people to raid because it feels told. It feels told?
I think maybe total.
It feels bold?
I don't know.
It feels something to finally achieve something you work towards.
Feels good.
It feels good. Even if all you get is a title or some shitty gear or a mount, I guess it's just the social aspect. The cheering and congratulations and all that. I know it's not for everybody, but maybe this can convince you. Last year, I wrote you guys about my girlfriend who had just joined 14. She was having trouble in dungeons. Not raids, but normal dungeons. I asked her to join me in doing some coil, which she did kind of suck at, admittedly. But after a few wipes, she started to understand the mechanics. She wanted to do one more run, and a clear, and the next run. Now she doesn't have any trouble in normal dungeons anymore and is actually actively looking for people to do Savage. I guess just try it. If you really don't like it, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that, but maybe you will like it.
That's
fair.
That's fair. And again, I'm going to go back to this. In 2.0, I was pretty actively raiding.
Yep.
It's not like I have no context for this at all. And I was thinking about this the other day, and when it comes to time allocation, especially these days, the thing that is important to me, the thing that I want to get better at, the thing that I want to devote time and resources and energy to is not necessarily FF14. I want to be better as a broadcaster. That is what my passion is. That is where all my passion lies. And there is stuff that I can do around here in the studio with the microphones and the gear that you guys have provided me. I'm always constantly tinkering with shit in on the channel or with Final Encountercast, and to me that's the thing that I want to spend time, effort, and energy getting better at. And I think that, that's to the benefit, of course, to the channel, and it sounds like a bit of a cop-out, but that's some real shit. I get competitive about the show. I get competitive about, looking at the marketplace.
Weird because we already smashed the competition as
I know.
far as quality and stuff goes.
But the thing is that Final Encountercast has so much ground to make up.
That's true.
If we were just doing Limit Break Radio, I probably would be like, okay, I want to devote myself to rating because I want to know all of this game to be able to talk about it. But because we've opened up into Final Encountercast and we're entering into a whole new arena with that show, it makes me much more competitive in terms of I want Final Encountercast to succeed. Right. Limit Break Radio is already really wildly successful. I want Final Encountercast to succeed. What do I need to do to set that up? And so, spending time with other games, trying to broaden my horizon in terms of the games that I play, that's been really important to me. Improving the quality of the visuals that you see on the stream, that's been really important to me. And that takes time. That takes effort. That takes that is something that I'm not good at. Audio I can do all day. Setting up microphones, I'm fine. I'm done in 20 minutes. Setting up cameras, I'm going to fuck it up at least twice before I get it right. And it's going to take me all goddamn afternoon. That's why we only have 2 wide angle cams. We own 2 more. I can't get to mount them. You know what I mean? It's
put
ridiculous.
one on the fan so we can rotate it around if necessary.
They all have cords. That would be really bad.
Oh.
They only have so much slack.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, I think we can all relate to the time constraint thing. I'm gonna rustle some jimmies here and say that the reason that I don't raid is because I've had a taste of that head bashingness before when I raided in WoW. And I know you're all saying, no, this is FF, it's better than WoW. You have no idea what you're talking about because we're obviously so much better than they are. Okay. So yeah, I know what it consists of, and I'm not about that life.
Well, I do think there have been some compelling arguments put forth, and
well, in fact, a lot of what I tell when people come into the stream asking about raiding is that if you came from WoW, when it comes to the actual difficulty of it, it is increased, I think, probably tenfold in Final Fantasy.
Sure.
So it is more difficult. So if I didn't like bashing my face in WoW raiding, as beautiful and thematic and as great of a narrative and storytelling as it was, take all that out and increase the difficulty, and that just does not interest me at all.
Fair enough. I think it would be nice, though, if we tried to get LBR participants in the same raid, one night a week. We do reset nights, but we're streaming almost every night as it is. It would be nice if we could, and granted, it's going to take a bit of.
I see the salt already.
It's going to take a bit of planning on our parts and a bit of organizing on our parts, but it might be nice, to just do and. We don't have to do like Nika does with 3 nights a week. That's a bit intense. 1 night a week, I would probably be okay with that. I probably wouldn't object to that. So I don't know. Maybe Clockwork, we appreciate the point of view. Maybe something will happen with that in the future. I don't want to make any promises, because the last time we said that, oh, raiding kind of looks fun and we'd be interested, Nika was like, oh, well, that means you're definitely doing it, right?
And if you don't, you're a shithead.
That's right. So
her words, exactly.
Juxta, this is a short one. You want to take this next one?
We actually have a caller on the line.
Caller.
Oh, okay. So let's take a caller. This is Orpheus Heidner of Hyperion, first-time caller. What's up, Orpheus? How's it going? Thanks for calling Limit Break Radio.
Thanks. I'm happy to be on. Thank you.
All right. So what do you want to talk about, Orpheus?
All right. So I actually wanted to call in because I was hoping to get some advice. Because what happened was that my FC has been pretty much dead since 3.1.
Okay.
And it's been to the point where the top rank has been bouncing around to different players, and it finally jumped on me a few days ago.
Okay.
And so what I was planning on doing is I was just going to hold down the fort until somebody of capable prowess comes back on, and then I could just pass it back to them, and then I can go transfer servers to go play with my friends. Because I don't want to be that much of a dick, because I've been with these guys since I started playing again.
Let me ask you this, Orpheus. Sorry to interrupt you. Let me ask you this. How many people are currently in your free company in total?
I can't remember the exact number because I'm not exactly online right now.
Well, give me a ballpark.
Active members, I'd say at most like 15.
Okay. How many people are usually on at any given time?
The most is about 7, 8.
All right. Did you listen to the last show by chance?
I was skimming through it while I was at work.
Okay, we had an email that is very reminiscent of this situation about a player who felt like Square Enix killed their free company that they have been in since the 1.0 days, and people have basically been leaving and going off to different link shells, different free companies. Some have transferred over to Sargatanas. And you have a lot of memories there, right? We all can sympathize with that. I mean, whether it's from this MMO or other MMOs, free companies, guilds, link shells.
Sure.
We get that attachment, okay? But as content ebbs and flows in MMOs, there are link shells, there are groups that will just inevitably live and die and pass on different places. Friends, separate, they find new friends. That's just part of the game.
I think the real question here is though, like, what kind of assets does the free company have? Is there a house involved? Like,
I was actually meaning to get to that because I'm that's not the main reason why I called in. I'm planning on staying now. That's the thing. I'm basically I found out literally the day after the rank transfer happened. A mutual friend came on and basically told me nobody's coming back. They're not even going to come back for 4.0 when it drops. They're just gone.
They're just done.
So I've basically become acting leader now, and I want to try and get my FC back up into shape. The problem is I've never handled a guild before in my life.
Okay.
It's not as hard as you think it is.
Right.
First thing is,
it's only as hard as you make it, really.
Yes. And the more restrictions you have, the harder it's going to be. One of the reasons that the LBR free company has been flourishing, despite our shining personalities, obviously that's the main draw, is we just give everybody invitation access.
Yeah.
I mean, which you might think, oh, well, what if you invite the wrong person or a troublemaker comes in? Then you remove them.
Right.
No questions asked. Don't make it a big thing. You fuck up, you're gone, right?
Right, yeah.
But don't try to take this responsibility all on your own. I mean, obviously, if there are other people logging in, there are other people who feel the same way that you do, they're going to want to be a part of this too, right?
Yeah.
So work together to make a concerted effort to recruit more people.
So this is, I think, I would call this like sort of the third iteration of a link shell or not alliance, not free company, but what would you call it in WoW? Guild, yes. So I think that we've had at least kind of like 3 different iterations. And in 11, that was sort of its own thing. The Link Shell in FF14, and now the Free Company. And I think what we learned from running, and keep in mind that this is all highly social, that none of this has ever had any kind of like structured raid environment or like any kind of like continued participation or any kind of like events or anything. This is just in terms of allowing it to be a place where people communicate with one another
and suck our dicks.
We have had way more fun once we stopped trying to impose some kind of rule set on that.
And when we stopped having any kind of responsibility.
Well, we absolved
it,
that was the thing, is that it was sort of like a self-imposed responsibility with the FF11 link shell and forums and stuff like that. We sort of took the responsibility upon ourselves to help people sort out problems between each other, to sort of be a leader in our free company or our link shell and in our community, and we kind of let that sort of fall away.
Same thing with the events. Like, we don't try to run events. We don't make it like a point to be like, all right, we have to have an event this week.
Yeah.
Because again, that's responsibility. I mean, not saying that you shouldn't do that, right? I mean, if you want to take that kind of stuff, onto yourself to try and, get people to start logging in more and coming back around, by all means, there are a lot of people out there that do have great success with it.
Although, given that email that we had on the last show, I don't think that it is any more or less successful than just making it a connection point.
Yeah.
Because that's really all the Free Company and the link shell for LBR have ever been, has just been a way for Limit Break Radio fans to sort of connect with each other and hang out. And there's really no overwhelming, there's no rules. We don't ban people very often. We don't kick people out of the Free Company or the link shell very often. And it's all about creating an environment that you feel is sort of reflective of what you want in your own group. And when you do that, other people will naturally find it. It really helps, though, having a very successful podcast, because then people will seek you out. Just saying.
Yeah, coming from Hyperion, I mean, it is a little bit of a different player base. It's sometimes you have to really seek out these people, because I've been on Hyperion for most of my playing time, and the way we ran our Free Company is that when we seen sprouts, we asked them. You just don't throw out that recruitment thing, because people will be a little overwhelmed, like, I don't know what this is, and stuff like that. So just be careful with that kind of aspect.
Yeah, maybe take it upon yourself. Again, if you want to try and recruit people, start young.
Right.
And basically, go around looking for them.
Of course, that would be your piece of
advice. And have a conversation with them. You see a sprout, see if they're new to the server or if they're new to the game. Explain to them what a Free Company is. Let them know, this is, what we have to offer. And at the very least, if you join, even if they don't really seem like, no, point out the benefits of Free Company buffs. Maybe just be like, look, until you find something more permanent or some people you like better, hang out with us. And they might end up staying there anyway. Just try and foster an environment that promotes, friendship and
don't take it personally when somebody leaves either. Like, it's not a big deal if someone leaves the LBR Free Company. You're not going to get a tell from a Nero going, well, why'd you leave? Like, that's just never a situation that's going to happen. It's pretty revolving
he might be,
door.
well, fuck that guy, but
it's a revolving door policy. It's fine. And the thing is that it won't affect, like, if you wanted to come back in, you immediately come back in.
I think have a list. They're not coming back.
I think that those things are enormously helpful too, and just foster a much more relaxed environment. And if that's what you want to be reflected, then I think that's how you go about achieving that. So hope that answered your question at least a little bit. Thank you very much for the call, Orpheus. We appreciate it. If you'd like to call Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord if you want to call in on Discord. Who wants to take this next email?
Juxta's going to read it.
All right. This is from Hero Maniac of Cactar.
Which they're in the chat. I see them right now.
Yeah, they made a character day just to come to our show.
That's what's up.
That's the best decision you'll ever make. Hey there, LBR hosts. It's the Hero Maniac writing in from Cactar again. I was just listening in to episode 65, and I just wanted to give some clarifications on...
It's pronounced my cock.
It's pronounced...
Pronounce my cock.
My cock.
He's pronouncing it like your cock's in his mouth.
I wanted to just mention that Yefim Saltmoor, the home of the weeping city of Mahak, does in fact show up on the Eorzean map. It is southwest of Ishgard and west of Mordona. It is roughly 20.2, 20.3 on the map of Eorzea you get from zooming out. The label is directly west of the label for Silver Tear Falls and Mordona.
Now, hang on, quick question, because and I'm just asking this because I don't remember. Is this an actual graphic that's on the map itself, or is this a point of interest that they include sometimes? I don't think it is. I think it would have to be actually written on the map itself.
That's what he means.
I think
something's written on the map.
Okay, all right.
Additionally, we actually have a decent of information on them prior to Void Ark, but we are now more able to definitely talk about them with the Void Ark story.
Let's be honest, people join LBRFC for the shower orgy.
Seems like it today.
Yeah, seriously. That's the shame room. It's not a shower room. For fuck's sake.
No, there's a lot of shame going on in there today.
I don't think...
The problem is there's no shame in there at all today. And I actually wrote up a few blog posts about it on my alt, which gives more information on the Void Ark, as well as the cities of Mahak, Amtapor, and Nim, and their direct contributions to the Fifth Calamity. I'll link those below if you guys are interested. Keep up the good work, the Hero Maniac of Cactar. P.S. Here's those links. I originally posted it in a private forum, so it's too big in one blog post, so I just split it up.
And I'm sure that Kooky will provide those links if anyone's interested in doing some reading.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, again, the War of the Magi has been something that we've gotten indirect references to, and I think context references to, but nothing that's been directly involved with any of the storylines as of yet. So interesting. I definitely will want to look through these blog posts a little bit later, but we appreciate the email here, Maniac. But interesting to know that, there's a little bit more information about this.
What I'm going to go check out. Actually, when this show's over, I'm going to have you pull up your map because I want to see exactly
what the map, that's one that I didn't realize and is a bit surprising to me that I hadn't seen that before, because I've poured over the maps quite a bit, but then again, I don't think I was looking westward. So
right, we could have geography time on the podcast again.
We do that. We've done that enough. All right, and is this last one short? Yeah, this last one.
Yeah, it's not really that relevant though. Basically, they say just a short thought. With the Mog Station becoming more popular, I noticed that specific dyes like pure white and jet black dyes sell for a lot of gil each a piece. Some people claim to just spend like $10 just to get a decent amount and sell it on the auction house for gil. I wonder if this was intentional or not from Square Enix. Is this something that should be allowed, or is it really not a big deal to begin with? And I'm pretty sure the ones you get from the Mog House you can't sell.
You can't.
Right, so it's two different ones.
Those are different dyes, so you can't sell them.
Yeah, the ones that you can sell, they only come from retainers, like
ventures.
Retainer ventures. And so the ones that you're buying on the Mog Station are actually the old versions of those dyes that used to be non-sellable, non-tradable, and the ones that are now brought back from retainer ventures are. And the reason that you see such an increase is because they're more popular colors. The other of those general purpose dyes are, they're off the beaten path, and so they're less, they're just less sought after.
I made $500,000 the other day for the two jet black dyes. $250K each.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I got 4 of those bad boys just sitting in my... And here's the thing, is that the jet black dye is not that drastically different from the black.
It depends on the gear.
That's what I was going to say, on 90% of the gear that you put it on. I swear, I have gone back and forth, because matching my... The color of the Odin helm, the black on that Odin helm, is really surprisingly difficult. And I'll go between regular black and the jet black, and way too often there's not enough difference. It would be nice if the jet black had some more accent changes on it, but that's...
He digresses.
Yeah. All right, I think that's
glamour life.
That is going to do it for today's episode of Limit Break Radio. But before we wrap up, we're going to take one final call from Zaris of Genova. Zaris, how's it going? Welcome to Limit Break Radio.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. All right, what do you want to talk about today?
Well, there's a couple things. Like you guys are talking about the Palace of the Dead, and I stepped away for a second, so maybe you did bring it up. But you guys are talking about the longevity of it, especially with the first 50 floors being brought out.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people really strive for like the leaderboard thing, and with them bringing the leaderboard, I think that's going to help a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the what's the word? The difficulty of it?
Yeah.
I mean, just going based off of that interview, the difficulty itself, I don't think is going to be so much with the monsters, but the effects that you're going to get, which I know you guys have talked about
The
in the past.
RNG, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, that the debuffs and buffs and the way that those play out during the dungeon, and a bit of the RNG attached to that is, I think, going to be the really big challenge there. The mobs, there's only so challenging that you can make a mob, because you either turn up its mechanic difficulty or you adjust the damage that it does. There's really only so many things that you could do with mobs, but having to react to specific situations that you don't know are going to be laid out in front of you, that to me is way more interesting. That's been the really interesting part of like Dark Souls to me, is it's a variable environment that changes every time you hit a bonfire.
Think back to Nizul Isle. Getting onto a floor that suddenly had mind flayers like increases not just the difficulty, but like, your motivation, your focus. Like, you're like, oh fuck, it's the mind flayers. Like, everybody fucking pay attention now.
Yeah, absolutely. Zaris, you have any shout outs?
Not really.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks for calling in to Limit Break Radio. If you guys want to call, remember that you got to listen live here at twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio, and you can call the show on Skype, over the phone, or on Discord. But that's going to wrap it up for Limit Break Radio here today. It is really hot in the studio.
I'm so sticky. Like, those hands that you could buy at the quarter machines that would stick to the wall?
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah. So stick around. Coming up at 5 o'clock.
Stick around.
We've got Final Encounter. We've got Final Encountercast coming up over at twitch.tv/Final Encountercast. We're going to be talking
Ultros in the Skuro room.
We're going to be talking about E3 predictions. We're rapidly coming up on E3. We want to hear what your predictions are, maybe some of your favorite moments from past E3s. That's going to be over at twitch.tv/Final Encountercast, and of course at finalencountercast.com. I want to thank you guys for tuning in live today, all 200 of you that are watching right now. Thank you guys so much. Hit that follow button, and if you like the show and you want to see the Twitch channel continue to grow, hit that subscription button and subscribe to Limit Break Radio for $4.99 a month on Twitch. Get access to some pretty cool chat emotes and more. If you want to support the show as a show and help the podcast grow, head on over to patreon.com/Limit Break Radio and pledge your amount of support per month here to Limit Break Radio. Help us grow Final Encountercast and Refresh and become the ultimate content network that we can become. And coming soon, by the way, LBRnetwork.com. Get hypoo! Hypoo!
Get hypoo.
That's going to be it for Limit Break Radio. Shout out to Ascalia and Nika, who are...
Thank you so much for not being here today.
Who are at their respective conventions today. Hope that their days went well. And thank you to my crew, Kooky Persona, manning the phone lines, the firewall Kooky Persona. We've also got Papa Woody filling in for Ascalia and Nika, and Cololandis and Juxtaposition. I'm an hero. Keep listening. Limit Break Radio is a production of LimitBreakRadio.com and Bender Media Productions. Today's episode was produced by Aniro Grigori and Kalo Landis. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. Funding for Limit Break Radio is provided by Miri Kennett, Captain Failboat, Zurian Urexin, Azura Giacho, Bianca Forwin, Kalina Ashsaber, Thor Carson, my waifu, Satori Komeji, Darbykins, Sakura-chan, and fellow Limit Break Radio listeners. To support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio. Opening music in this episode from Daniel Lambie. Listen to Man with the Machine Gun and other great tracks at facebook.com/Daniel Lambie Metal Gamer. Closing music in this episode provided by Husky by the Geek. Listen to this and other great Final Fantasy XIV and video game rock covers and original music at facebook.com/Husky by the Geek. In-game graphics for Limit Break Radio's Twitch stream are provided by Diamond Multimedia. Check out their line of AMD graphics cards and other hardware at diamondmm.com. Limit Break Radio and its hosts are solely responsible for its content.